right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast. I'm your host Freyway, and I'm here with my co-host Kenny.
Hi.
And today we are here talking about Demon Slayer Season 3, Swordsmith Village. It has completely ended now. So if you're listening to this, this is going to be an episode that contains spoilers for the newest season of Demon Slayer, which is, again, Season 3, Swordsmith Village. And this is the one with Muichiro. And I don't even know the girl Hashira name. I'm going to be honest. I forget her name. But the love Hashira is also in this season.
Kanroji, I think?
Yes.
I think it's Kanroji.
Yeah.
I don't know her full name, but I know Kanroji is one of her names.
Yes, because they kept calling her that throughout it. I know Muichiro because he's fucking broken. So this season, where do I start? So Demon Slayer was coming up off of a high from season 2, season 1, the movie, everything, right? Like this anime has been very,
You starting negative.
It's been very, very good for the first 2 seasons. It has honestly been one of my favorite things these last couple years. I've enjoyed it quite a lot. I always had a fear with this anime, and I have voiced this opinion about it, that it is very, like, basic is the word I use for it. It's a very basic shonen with insane visuals.
I thought we were going to bury the lead, by the way. I didn't realize. I knew we were going to be on the same page, but I thought we were going to bury the lead. Go off, King. Go
off. So like, this show was at the top of the mountain when it came to new shonens, right? It's above Jujutsu Kaisen for me. It's above, like, I don't know, all the things that are out right now that the kids are loving and liking. But how do I put this? This season was mid, and it didn't start off mid though, which is so interesting. This season started off insane, actually. Like episode 1, right? If I were to judge this season by episode 1 alone, and everything continued on the same level as episode 1, that 1 hour special that opened with the Upper Moon meeting, this season had the promise of one of the best seasons of anime ever. The way it started, just based on when Akaza got to the Infinity Castle realm, and the way he got to where they had the meeting at, like that entire sequence, the sound design, the animation, the dialogue, the inner thoughts that he was having, the way he actually physically was traveling from place to place on the pillars, then Muzan on the ceiling, then number 1, number 2.
Talk to him.
Like, it was nuts, bro. Like, that episode 1 of this season was absolutely cracked out of its mind. We did a whole episode on that episode. Like, we did an entire episode on that episode.
We reviewed episode 1 of this season.
It was
as a podcast. I don't know. Did we have anything else in that episode, in that podcast episode, or was it just that?
It's literally.
I think it was just that. Yeah, it might have been something else too, like a listener letter, but
it might have been. But that episode is literally called Swordsmith Village 1 hour special. You know, so
yeah.
As far as I can tell, you know, like the episode 1 was just nuts, and so episode 2 and 3. I was surprised because I thought that the season would slow down just a little bit after episode 1, just because of how crazy it was. And 2 and 3 were like, okay, Tanjiro's going to go to the Swordsmith Village, and he gets there, and there's like 2 Hashiras there. And also, you heard that number 5, Upper Moon, had some news about some secret place. So it kind of made sense that this is where it was going. And then Muzan happened to send exactly 2 Upper Moons to this village, and Tanjiro runs into 2 Hashiras who happen to be at this village. And it started out very fast. Like by episode 3, I remember saying to myself, whoa, I can't believe we're already here. We just ended season 2 with an Upper Moon fight and death.
Can I interject?
Please go ahead.
So I rewatched season 2 going into this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Because season 2 is cracked to me, but yes.
Yeah, but the problems that I had with season 2, the first time I watched it, felt even heavier this on a rewatch.
Ooh.
The problems I had with season 2 was that if you go back and watch it, there isn't really any story. By episode 3 of season 2, they're fighting the Upper Moon, and they fight the Upper Moon for the rest of the season. And the animation's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And the characters are all cool. All that's fucking awesome. But when you look at it again, and I said this, we both said this the first time, like they start fighting so quick. There's no, because I thought there's going to be a mystery. They're going to like look for stuff, and like they just start fighting so quick, and then they're just in the fight, and then the rest of the season is just the fight. And what's odd about it is, like we've said before, like the people that complain about Attack on Titan, like there's some people that are like, oh, this episode of Attack on Titan was whack. Like they were just talking the whole time.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, that's the story. Like I think you said you were the first person I heard say this, but I don't want to watch Flesh Gundams fight all day.
Yeah, that's not my fantasy.
And so, you know, season 2 is what it is. It's still fucking awesome to look at and really cool, but I watched all of that, and then like you realize there's not that much story that happens, and then I get to season 3, And then episode 3, they're fucking fighting the upper moons already.
Yes.
Like, and then the rest of the season, and like the only time their story is just right before an upper moon is going to die, or right before they fake kill the Hashira, and you get 10 minutes of the Hashira flashback, and then, you know, maybe a flashback for the. That's the other thing. All of the other demons up until this season, we got a backstory before they died. Number 5 got no backstory at all. The pot demon got no backstory.
Can we talk about that character for a second? Because I fucking hated that thing, okay?
He's so fucking whack.
I hated that demon. I don't understand. I know we have problems with pacing and like problems with some of the way the story is written or whatever, but overall, we've praised Demon Slayer for being a pretty good anime. And I just think that now it's truly suffering from a lot of different things. So the pot demon, I don't even remember his name. I don't care for his name.
I don't either. I've been calling it the pot demon.
Okay, so we can call it the pot demon. That's fine with me. Number 5, my problem with him is he was eccentric. I get that he was all into art and stuff like that. And he was very narrow-minded in that way. Like his entire design was just based on the aesthetics of things and like recreating things and horror. I did like the horror aspect of him when he first showed up, when that one swordsmith was just walking down some steps and there was a random pot chilling and he walked up to it and got sucked into it and you heard his bones literally breaking, and then he got spat back out, covered in blood, disfigured, and then the upper moon came out and said, ugh, fucking disgusting. I was like, yo.
So I want to talk about that real quick, that point, and then I want you to get back to what you're saying.
Yes.
That part was both hype and anti-hype for me, because when that happened, I thought it was so fucking cool, like so interesting.
It's horror.
So mysterious and horror.
It. Yeah.
But what I wanted from that was like, dude, how fucking cool would it be if for the next 3 episodes, 4 episodes.
This is what I thought too. I thought the same thing.
There's like people disappearing and like there's random pots showing up all over the village.
Yep.
And like it's a mystery and it's horror and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But then when you realize, oh, this season's 11 episodes, they don't have time to do that. As soon as I saw the pot demon do something, I was like, oh, they're going to fight for, like, the story's over. They're just going to fight for the rest of the season. Whereas if it was like 24 episode season, they could have had time. Now, granted, it's based on a manga, so this fault probably lies in the manga to begin with. But if the story gave time to build some fucking mystery and some tension, I see the pot demon, he does a really cool, like, horror mystery type thing. And my head goes like, oh, how cool would it be if they expanded on this? But instead what happens is like, they're just fighting the pot demon 10 minutes later. And like, there's no mystery, there's no horror, there's no sneaking around. It's just like, okay, and the fight starts.
I also thought that he was going to low-key transform into the guy that he spit out. I thought that his ability was going to be so dangerous. I said, oh God, because here's the thing. I have so much to say. God, I don't even know how to get all my thoughts together. Okay, so at the end of season 2, when they fought number 6, Daki and her brother, the ridiculousness of that upper moon being the weakest and how hard it was to beat that thing, I was like, there's no fucking way they're going to be able to deal with another one of these things that is stronger.
No, Frazier, they dealt with 2.
Let alone 2 of them. So
they dealt with 2.
Going into this season, I was like, there's no world where this is going to get better for the main characters. This is going to be, I thought that this anime, especially because Rengoku died so early, they really set me up like this was going to be an Akame ga Kill type of anime. You
realize every season it's gotten easier.
It's gotten worse.
It hasn't gotten hard. It's gotten easier for us. As we're fighting stronger opponents, it's gotten easier.
Literally.
We fought an upper moon and a Hashira died. Then we fought an upper moon and we won, but a Hashira got badly injured to the point of retiring, but didn't die. Then we fought 2 upper moons, and killed them, and there was no casualties.
Yeah, so I went into this thinking there's no way they're going to be able to deal with the next level upper moons, because I thought that they were all going to be exponentially stronger than the last one. So when I see the pot demon, I was like, yo, if his ability is to suck people into that pot and he comes out as them, that and I thought that he was going to be doing like figuring out how to get close to the chief, because maybe the chief is like a big secret person that you can't really get close to, like this, like the whole village.
It was hard enough to get to the village, right?
That's what I was thinking. So I was like, yo, you can't just get to the chief. You can't just, no one knows where he's at except a specific whistle down the lane way to get to him, some crazy way to get to the chief. So I thought maybe he was going to do some recon, some intel type digging stuff where he pretends to be humans and he can transform into us after he sucks us in and kills us. He could come out and then he is that person. And that would have been so cool to me. But then he kills the guy. And then he turns like people into art, and he has fish demons going around the village, just slashing at people wildly. And he ended up grabbing the chief at one point, was squeezing him to death, which that was another thing I'll talk about, the whole squeezing to death thing. I don't know why in this season there were like 8 scenes where someone was almost squeezed to death. No one actually died from it, but it happened at least 8 different times where a character was squeezed to the point where they were about to die and then nothing came of it literally at all. I don't know why that was done so much, but this season was a lot of repetition, including the fucking number 4 running away in miniature mode. I just have so many gripes.
Oh my god!
So I just have to air them all out. But back to the pot demon. So his actual design is terrible. Like the way he looks.
Yeah, he doesn't look cool.
He doesn't look cool. He didn't look cool in episode 1 either. So I didn't really expect much. But then here's my gripe. He ended up transforming at the end of his fight with Muichiro. He ended up transforming into his ultimate form. He was talking about how his fins are harder than diamond and his fangs are harder than this. And he can move at Mach 10 speed and all of this crazy stuff. And you'll never catch me. You'll never touch me. You'll never be able to damage me. And all of these wild things. And it reminded me of the Sea King from One Punch Man, but worse. Because he looked like the Sea King. But I remember when it started raining, the Sea King got terrifying. Like genuinely and actually terrifying. Whereas the way they wrote number 5, I couldn't take him seriously for multiple reasons. One, there was a swordsmith, the main one that Tanjiro always interacts with, who was working on a sword randomly in the middle of the village at nighttime. He was honing it and focusing super hard on it. And the pot demon comes into the shed and sees him doing that and starts attacking him. And the guy never gives him any of his attention whatsoever.
Not at all.
The swordsmiths are regular humans. They are not demon slayers. They are actual just regular people. Okay, this guy is being actually physically attacked by number 5, who is supposedly, because I can't tell, supposedly stronger than number 6. And
not like number 5 upper moon, like that means he is the 6th strongest being on the planet, basically.
Yes,
because
Muzan won and then everybody else after.
As far as we can tell, and maybe this will end up being wrong, but as far as we can tell, no Hashira can 1v1 any of these fucking demons. It's always like kind of a team effort.
Right.
Sort of. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Muichiro.
Yeah, but even him like kind of lost, and then like the little kid had to like kiss him through the water tub, and then like he got air. I don't know, but he's in top 10 strongest things on the earth. Yeah. Let's just say that. Top 10 strongest things on the earth.
Easily.
And the swordsmiths, although I'm sure they're stronger than like a regular citizen, they are not demon slayers. They're not even like the demon slayers that don't get to go on missions. Right. You know what I mean? Like
they're just regular people.
Yeah.
They're regular people. They have regular endurance. They can be killed very easily. They don't have defense. They don't do total concentration, deep breathing at all times like Tanjiro is doing now. There's just a lot. So when I see number 5 attacking this guy from behind and the guy never looks at him or anything, and then he's getting more and more angry that he's not getting attention, I'm like, first of all, this is very childish for somebody who's lived hundreds of years, okay? You've lived hundreds of years and you've killed, I assume, thousands of humans by now. Like, I just have to assume it's thousands, right? Yeah. So you've lived hundreds of years. In fact, they even gave us an exact quantity of years that it's been since the last time they all met. It was like
113 or something.
Something like that. It was over 100 though. So we know that they've been around as upper moons for over 100 years. Yeah. So you've killed, again, probably thousands of people by now. You're one of the strongest. In order to get strong, you have to kill humans and consume them. And you get to this random guy who's like honing a sword. I shouldn't keep calling him random, but I have to because I just want to really make the point that this is for all intents and purposes, a human, like a regular human who's not trained in the Demon Slayer arts. And he just couldn't do anything to him but make him lose a part of his eye. Like his one eye was closed shut, so I assume that eyeball is gone or whatever. But that's the most damage he did the entire season as far as just like in a fight with someone directly. That doesn't make any sense. Like I don't get it.
Like Daki, who's considerably weaker, and her brother, who, as far as we know, even though her brother was strong as fuck, he's also as far as we know should be considerably weaker than number 5. Because we also know that they are ranked and ordered based on how strong they are.
Yes,
because
that is a fact. That's just how it works.
Number 2 is blatantly stronger than number 3, which is Akaza, and then like doesn't even take Akaza seriously at all. And you can also just tell by looking at it, number 4 was way stronger than number 5.
Yeah.
Like number 4
worlds apart.
Like, not even fucking close.
Worlds apart. I agree with you. His character design told me that he was stronger than him.
That yes. Like number 4 is like I don't know if you want to say true form, but basically his true form, the strongest version of him.
He looked like a Saiyan to me. He looked cool as shit.
He was insane looking, yeah. And I love like the drums. Anyway,
yeah, really cool character.
So yeah, I mean I don't know. It's just the point that I was getting to was that Daki and Gyutaro, I believe was her brother's name. The amount of damage they slaughtered, let's just say dozens of people in that village. They destroyed that whole like a bunch of the red light district. They took one of the Hashira's arms, like the Sound Hashira lost his arm, was poisoned. I think he also might have lost his eye. Like they basically retired a Hashira.
Yes.
They didn't kill one, but they basically retired one. And like the most damage number 5 did was like he knocked an eyeball out of a guy.
Yeah, who gave him nothing. He gave him no time of day, gave him literally his back. He gave him his ass to kiss. And this is, again, a swordsmith to one of the top 10 strongest beings on the planet, supposedly. I don't get it from a narrative perspective. It didn't make sense that and his name is Gyoko, the number 5 one, Upper Moon. It didn't make sense narratively that he would be that weak. So Gyoku is number 5, and the number 4 is Han Tengu, just for future reference, I guess. So anyway, I didn't like that he was kind of corny. There was so much promise with him at first. I was like, oh, okay. Like the fish thing, I wonder where that's going to go. I really was thinking that I was going to get some big, like, there's a reason behind why fish are his main thing, and there's something behind like this art style thing and his obsessions, but it really didn't amount to anything. And what made it even worse is that, okay, and we'll get to Muichiro eventually, but like what made it even worse is that in his death he didn't even get a backstory because it wasn't worth giving him one.
Yeah, he got nothing. And it's not even like I was going to say too, Huntengu number 4, he got sort of a backstory. Like they did give. But even his backstory
like,
was like super fucking light and not compared to the backstories of the demons that we've gotten before.
Number 6's story was amazing.
Number 6's backstory was fucking great, yeah. And then
it
even
Dear God,
I forget his name, but the spider guy, the lower moon,
Rui.
Yeah, like he had a real backstory. These demons had real fucking backstories, and then we get to like the upper echelon demons, and we just killed 2 of them and got no information on them. Like they weren't even. It almost felt like they weren't relevant characters. Like we spent an entire season fighting these irrelevant characters.
Yeah, they didn't feel relevant in all honesty. So when it comes to Muichiro, I really, really do like, at the very least, the end of the one episode where Muichiro and Tanjiro were talking inside of that room, and the door slides open, and number 4 just starts to like crawl in slowly. When I tell you that
was cool.
Listen, that scene right there, when Muichiro instantly went into total concentration, deep breathing, and like did one of his mist things and just slid.
He was quick.
Yo,
he was fucking
fast. The animation on the Miss Hashira's attacks, like that, and then the sound it makes when he does his attack, it's like this weird sound.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh,
That's the thing. I guess we can take this moment to declare there is things in the season, but once again, it all is like aesthetically. There's things in this that were fucking awesome to me. Like the animation, once again, is like best in the business. Like the fighting, the quality of all of that was clean, fucking amazing, awesome. Like when he did the mist breathing right off the bat, and then everything. Like just to jump ahead real quick, like Kanroji, when she showed up with her like fucking ribbon whip sword. Yeah. She was doing some OD shit that I was popping off at. But to get back to the point, there's, a lot of the story stuff is whatever. But yeah, the Mist Demon, not the Mist Demon, but when number 4 showed up.
He was the biggest demon in the season.
And he did that, and it instantly decapitated him.
Yo. He like slid. He did a Sub-Zero. He slid in and sliced that man's head off. And
it was awesome.
At that moment, and then Tanjiro snapped into like his whole thing, and they saw him go on the ceiling. Tanjiro looked up, and the Miss Hashira looked up, and they both started going ham. I was like, yo, this is so fire already. The Miss Hashira is broken. Like he is. The speed thing really got to me. I love fast characters, and the way he seems so dead in the eyes, like that deadpan look that he has. Even when he was fighting, he just had like this I don't really care thing. I just kind of do things. I loved everything about that. Also knowing that he was nerfed because of his sword being like currently being in the shop. And
he wasn't even using his sword. He was just using a random sword.
Yeah. So all of that in that episode, I think that was episode 3 at the end, when he sliced his head off, and then I was like, yo, he cut his head off so fast. I couldn't believe it, right? I was like, yo, he cut his head off so fast. But then obviously I'm thinking to myself, where's the catch?
Yep.
There's gonna be a catch. And then the head was floating in the air and the body was kind of falling wayward. And as they had them both in camera, I was like, oh god, something's about to happen. And then you just saw from the head a fucking body sprout and from the body a head sprout. And I lost my shit. I was like, yo, it's about to get so dark. It's about to get, and then Muchiro, he went into attack stance again, and he went after the one that had just been born. As he charged him from behind, the guy's fan, the demon's fan, he like, without looking at Muichiro, mind you, just waved his fan and slapped it down. And Muichiro got blasted out of the fucking shed that they were in and flew so far, it reminded me of Netero versus Neferpito. Literally gave me vibes of like,
as soon as I saw the fan too, I was like, oh, the other guy uses lightning. Because like the way they looked, like, and the way his fan looked too, it's like a classic Japanese, like God of Lightning, God of Wind.
That makes so much sense. And same thing with Killua.
Yeah.
Killua actually uses God of Lightning, God of Wind. When they show how he uses his ability, you see the two gods like in these cool Japanese art styles. They kind of like doing a little dance.
It's like a classic Japanese thing. So when I saw specifically the way the fan looks, I was like, oh, the other guy uses lightning. Like I was so fucking hyped. So I was like, this is like God of Wind, God of Lightning shit. And I was like, this is going to be so sick. And then it got even more outrageous. There was like 7 more emotions of powers.
Yes. So again, it wasn't all bad. This particular part, when the season still had a lot of promise, because by this point, unfortunately and fortunately, this was only episode 3 that we're at, and this was happening.
Yeah, this is
already.
like episode 3.
So it's like, fortunately, it was good, but at the same time, unfortunately, as it turns out, it ended up not panning out well. But at this moment, when I thought that the season still I thought that the season was going to be maybe a little more than half of it was Upper Moon stuff. And then the other like 3 or 4 episodes would be a big development part about story. And that just didn't happen. So yeah, when he blew him out of the shed that they were in and you see Muichiro flying away, and he went really far too, like so far that I said, unless he has some kind of teleportation ability or some kind of like flight ability, he's not going to be back in time before somebody dies. And spoiler alert, like no one died this season, which is really just bullshit. But I thought that someone should have for sure died. Muichiro had to get back to them.
I'm going to wait. There's something I'm going to say, but that comes at the end.
Okay. So I do like other things that showed promise, because episode 1, our biggest question that we had was, why does everyone look like Tanjiro, basically? Like the number one Upper Moon, his name is Kokushibo. Kokushibo looks like Tanjiro. He looks like his dad. He looks like the same god that Muzan saw in his visions that he's afraid of.
He also has like the I guess the sun breathing marks. I guess I'm gonna call them. Like he has the sun breathing marks, and then we find out in this Muichiro also, I guess, has the sun. Even though he doesn't do sun breathing, there's a part in the season. Yeah, we find out he's a descendant, and then he gets like, but they're different marks, but they almost look like clouds. But he got like sun breathing marks on his cheeks.
Yeah,
and then even fucking Kanroji got like a mark on her breast, like randomly. And I don't know if she's related to anybody, but she randomly got like a mark on her breast that made her fucking stronger.
Yeah,
and
so
that kind of just went unexplained.
You just hit the nail on the head right there. So that is my biggest gripe with the entire season. And I guess I could pivot to that, but let me just go in a little bit more on how everyone looked like a version of Tanjiro. So we saw the episode 1 where they showed that flashback, and it was like Tanjiro's ancestor who was holding a baby that looks like Tanjiro, talking to a guy that looks like Tanjiro. And I know this sounds like a rant, but I swear I'm being serious. Like, this is actually this anime. So if you're watching this out of context, this probably sounds like the worst thing ever, but this is actually what's going on. Everyone looks like the main character, but older. So I'm thinking about all the things this could mean. Then they find a doll in episode 2 that also looks like Tanjiro and the guy who's number 1 and his ancestors and his dad and the guy that Muzan is afraid of. So I didn't know what was going on. They said this guy's fighting style is so insane that it requires 6 arms on the doll in order to imitate his fighting style, which again, that sounds cool as shit.
That's insane. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that sounds cool as shit. I don't know what is going on in terms of the story with why everyone looks like that. They haven't even slightly said anything about it yet. They haven't even slightly alluded to why that's a thing. It's kind of annoying at this point. So for 1 or 2 seasons, I could take it. It's the end of season 3 now. so we've been through so many episodes. Season 1 was long. So season 1 is like 26 episodes, which made season 1 the best season by far now because it actually had a lot of content to it, not just fighting.
Season 1, season 1 as of this moment, who knows what the future holds, but as of this moment, season 1's still my favorite season for sure.
So the 26 episodes really helped a lot with why that season is actually so good. Now, I don't like he has 6 arms. The doll has 6 arms and it has a sword hidden inside of it. And it's all this mystery stuff, which I do like, but you do have to explain some of it at some point. And they're just kind of still not doing that. And it's starting to get to the point where instead of the mysteries being cool, they're just becoming annoying.
Well, I'll tell you what. And on the note of the mysteries, right? It's like on one end, there's more mysteries. There's these mysteries surrounding Tanjiro and the 3,000 people that look like him. And we have the mystery that was the most interesting to me basically gets answered this season, and I didn't like it. The mystery surrounding Muzan. And so
my God.
These other I have my faith for the other, and there's no story. Like for the most, there isn't really any story or plot.
Yeah.
And there's no characters that really get developed. Now, I like a lot of the characters that get introduced. They have great character designs, and they have fun personalities. I like both of the Hashiras this season. I obviously like Tanjiro. I still think he's a good kid. And there's things in this season that there are even things in this season that I really like that happened with this character. I like pretty much every Hashira I've seen. I like the new guy.
Yeah, I do like every Hashira so far. They've all been insanely cool. Every single one of them.
But in terms of like the plot and the story and like the machinations of what's going on in the world, like either nothing comes of it, or when a mystery gets answered, it's kind of underwhelming. So like Muzan, we get Muzan's backstory, and his backstory, I'm sorry, this is jumping to the end of the season, but we can go back and fill in the holes. But you were talking about the mysteries, and I just had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Muzan's backstory ends up being 1,000 years ago, he was a guy that was sick, and a guy gave him medicine, and the medicine didn't work, so he killed the guy. And then Muzan became a demon.
Yep.
That's Muzan's back. That's literally his backstory.
And then furthermore, his motivations for everything that he's been doing has been, I want to just destroy everything. And also I want to walk in the daylight. So it's a very cliche vampire storyline. And that is all there is to his motivations. That's
literally all of Muzan's story.
Motivations, as of right now, his only motivations have been to walk in the sunlight for the last 1,000 years. That has been his, and this is from his perspective too. His perspective has been that. Like we hear his backstory from his perspective. So like I assume it's not cap. Like that's real. What I'm hearing him speak about when he's talking about how I knew I was afraid of the sun. He said I didn't know for sure, but something told me that that the sun would be damaging to me, so I just hid away from it.
We also just talk about like, okay, so as far as we know, Muzan has now been alive for 1,000 years. Yep. So he's seen a lot of the Earth. He might have seen the entire Earth, not just Japan.
Yeah, because 1,000 years, bro. Yeah.
The whole point is he's also looking for this thing, the blue spider lily, so that he can walk in the sunlight that he believes, right? In all of this time, in 1,000 years, from Muzan's perspective, he is the first demon, the only demon, and all other demons come from him. Why did some random doctor know how to create demons? Like, he literally got a medicine that just turned him into just some random guy
with no
backstory. The first demon.
I don't get that either.
And this first demon is broke. He's just stronger than everything else that ever existed. He can just kill everybody. He can eat people. He can turn more people into demons. Like, it is some of the shittest backstory I've ever seen. It's so bad.
I love that you are being brutally honest. I just enjoy. Obviously, like, you tell her how it is. And so it's not the highlight that like, this is the one time you're doing that, but you sound like me right now. And I wasn't ready for just a very blunt, like, this is one of the worst backstories ever, because that's what I thought. Kenny, when the episode concluded.
I felt so bad, by the way, because not even just you, I like him a lot too, but I know you fucking loved Muzan. Like,
before the season.
And to be fair, the way he acts, other than this backstory, is still cool and clean as fuck.
It is.
But it was so. I remember when I watched it, literally in my heart, I was like, "Oh, there's no way Fraser likes this."
Yo, oh my God! I looked at Gary at the episode.
I was like, "There's no fucking way Fraser likes this."
You felt my emotions, like somehow, somewhere.
I really did.
You know me well, so you probably were like, "Yeah, this is not good for our boy." I looked at Gary after the episode was over, and I said, "So, did this just become a vampire story? Like a very typical?" every vampire story you've ever seen about them going into sunlight being their entire motivation for existing? Is that actually what I'm to believe? Like, and also, how did a random person just give him something that turned him into a god? But also, that person was able to be killed by being backstabbed. And then coincidentally, like, oh, you happen to kill the guy. It's just not good. And then he was sick. He said you'll die before your 20th birthday. Like, that was what was going to happen to Muzan. He was about to be 20 years old and he wasn't going to make it to 20 essentially. And I know that he has a cousin, a long distant cousin, who's the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, and that guy is also sick as fuck. So clearly sickness runs in their family, but instead of becoming a demon, that guy's just toughing it out and whatever happens to him happens. I'm sure that there's going to be some big reveal in terms of like the relationship between the leader of the Demon Slayers.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more story,
but it's still
so far
good.
The story that got revealed in this season,
it's
which is the season we're judging,
it's awful. It's awful. The fact that Muzan is not really a demon, he's more of a vampire, is fucking awful. This should be called Vampire Hunters. Like, it's not a demon story anymore. Like, that is a vampire's motivations. You suck blood and then you can't go out in the sunlight and you want to go out in the sunlight, so you're mad. Like, that is your motivation for everything. So yeah, I didn't like that mystery, but there's more. Can we talk about Genya for a second? So I know people give
that's
Bakugo,
the little brother of the Wind Hashira, for anybody that doesn't know.
Sanemi and Genya. So, which sounds way too much like sodomy, but anyway. So Genya is a character who is compared often to Bakugo, which I feel like is unfair to Bakugo. Bakugo gets a lot of shit for being, loud and raging all the time and stuff like that. But there was a whole season where they gave us a lot of development on Bakugo's character that gave him a lot of depth and made him an interesting person. And you find out that he's a huge fan of All Might. And the reason why he truly hates the main character, Midoriya, is because he felt like, I loved All Might, but he's taken a liking to you as like a favorite. And I don't quite understand that because you don't even have superpowers. Like, it's not fair that you, who've never had superpowers, and me, who's been working hard at this and who's born with it like 80% of the planet, I've been kind of overlooked. And here you are just, you should just be a sidekick. Like, you should be nothing. And he has real motivations. He wants to get stronger. He wants to be the number one hero, which is something to strive to. He wants to be the symbol of peace. So he has like all these motivations and this rivalry, this secret rivalry that he's been holding this grudge against the main character for so long. And you find this out later on and it gives him a lot of depth. Whereas Genya is Bakugo, but without any development. And instead of development, they give him this weird thing this season where he becomes a demon. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I wonder if all of the other demons, or all of the other demon slayers, I should say, I wonder if they can all just like do some weird thing where they can kind of turn demon-like. And that's going to be like a new power-up for them. Because, anime, you watch enough shonen, you kind of get what the power-ups are. It's going to be like demon slayers becoming part demon to get stronger in the middle of a fight. That's what I thought was going to happen. They end up not explaining, but explaining how he got this ability. And it's one sentence. They just tell us that he eats demon parts and that does that to him. That's all they give us on his entire, like...
He's just able to eat. He just, for whatever reason, he can just eat demons and he gains the power of a demon.
That's it.
But he doesn't become a demon. Like,
right, but the sun does kill him the same way it would kill a demon. Like, I hate it.
But like, he can also change. Like, eventually it wears off and he changes back to a human. It's just like
it heals him, which is
there's no explanation. There's no explanation as to he was cheese at one point. And he was alive and able to move his arm. Like, he was able to move the part of his arm that your bicep moves, but his bicep wasn't there. So I don't know how he did that. That was interesting. But there's no explanation to that. There's no explanation to that power, and there probably won't be.
That's what I'm realizing. I was like, oh, they're not going to explain that. They're actually not going to explain that. So they don't explain Genya, and Genya is a big part of the season. When he first arrives, and first of all, he's shooting a gun. Yeah.
Also, I just real quick before we get off the My Hero thing, it's something that's bothered me, and I don't like doing the whole like my show is better than your show thing. But
correct.
It frustrates me how often I hear from like people have been saying this since season 1 of Demon Slayer, like Demon Slayer just like trumps My Hero. It's so much better. Okay. And like the more Demon Slayer because at that time I've only saw a little bit of Demon Slayer and I've seen up to current of My Hero, and I was just like, I don't think so, but I'm excited to see. I'm now 3 seasons in the Demon Slayer, and like It's still not better than like season 1 of My Hero, in my
It
opinion.
really isn't.
But
Like I'm calling cap on everybody who thinks that Demon Slayer where it is now, comparing it to where My Hero was by season 3. Cap.
yeah, season 3 My Hero was absolute crack. But anyway, I'm not trying to do like a piss on your party, my party's better thing. There's a lot of things in Demon Slayer I like that I think are cool. A lot of animations that's cool. But in terms of the story, the plot, where that's all going, like each season kind of disappoints me more than the last. Whereas like the action just gets more and more amazing, but like the story is just kind of more disappointing with each season that passes.
Yeah, the lack of story really, because yeah, like you said, there really isn't much of a story going on. And now that we officially know Muzan's motivations, the only other mystery that is kind of like the big one for me, outside of the Tanjiro's, is that I can't. The only other mystery that's really big to me is like who actually turned his sister into a demon, who killed his whole family. Because I don't know why. I don't think it's Muzan for some reason. I really don't.
So I disagree with you.
Oh shit.
I think
that would be awful, Kenny. Kenny, that would be dumpster fire. It would be dumpster fire, bro. It would be dumpster fire.
Okay, so I'm jumping all the way to the end now. Fuck it, we're all over the place. Earlier, Fraser said there were no casualties this season, and I had something to say, but I didn't say it. There was an awesome, incredible moment at the end of this season where Tanjiro, and this is, once again, I think Tanjiro is a great character. I actually really like Tanjiro as a character. I think he's awesome. So there's a moment where he's sitting there and the sun has come up, like they're out in this fucking open field. The sun is like peering over the horizon. It's dawn, basically. The demon is getting away. He needs to he thought he killed the demon. He realized he didn't. The demon's about to kill these humans and he's going to get away. And his sister is in an open field, going to burn to death and die from the sunlight.
Yeah.
And so he's like, turn small, Nezuko, please turn small. And he's cradling her and he's covering her body with his body. And she's crying and her skin is burning to a crisp from the sunlight. And he's cradling her. And you can see the animators did an incredible fucking job.
This scene had me shook. Like
Tanjiro is shaking, his eyes are shaking, his fucking head.
And then he had analysis paralysis.
Yes, his duty as not only a demon slayer, but just as a good person is to go save those people and kill that demon before it gets away. But his duty as he knows if he moves, his sister dies.
Yep.
And he's like,
what do I do?
He thinks about like, I can carry her and I can go. And he's like, I won't make it in time if I have to carry her. And like, he doesn't know what to do. And he's looking at Nezuko and his face, it's like heart wrenching.
Even with the way he yells at her and says, shrink down. Like
yes,
everything about that, like gut wrenching is a very good way to describe it.
About it. I'm getting goosebumps. It was the best scene of the entire season. It was incredible to me, like the absolute horror on Tanjiro's face and the writing of it. And then Nezuko, like a character who doesn't get much character development throughout the series. She shows an incredible depth of character where she knows she's going to die and she kicks her brother off of her in order, because she like knows like what he has to do and that he's going to let people die in order to protect her. And Nezuko sacrifices herself, basically kicks her brother off of her so that she can die and so that she takes the decision away from Tanjiro. And then Tanjiro is like going and he's looking at her and like he's heartbroken. He can't believe his sister's about to die, but he fucking steals himself in an instant. He fucking lands and he goes, find them. And then like after the decision is taken away from him, he doesn't like continue to peter on. He immediately goes and fucking kills the demon. And it is just an incredible 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't know how long it was, but
it seemed like an eternity when it was happening.
Yes, it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then Nezuko doesn't die. She conquers the sun. She's able to just walk in the sunlight for no explained. Now, granted, since she's a weird demon in multiple ways, she was the only demon that we know of that got transformed and didn't immediately kill her family. She instead protected her family in episode 1. As in Tanjiro, she, doesn't really attack humans unless she goes berserk.
And her blood also hurts demons, but it doesn't hurt humans. It actually heals humans.
Yes. So she's obviously been weird from the start, but then also on top of that, like she's in the sunlight looks like it's killing her, but then it just doesn't kill her. And then she's completely fine. And so like,
then she starts
then she starts talking. So like in one way, granted, she has been different than every other demon leading up to this anyway. So like her surviving the sunlight, I guess, isn't that surprising, but it's also kind of annoying because I feel like an amazing fucking moment was kind of ripped away from
Yeah,
me.
that's how I feel. I feel like they went out of their way to show that back. They showed backstory for that character. They did
Yeah.
like a whole thing where it was a montage of moments that you've seen with him and her together and them
Yeah.
as children. And it made it seem so real to me that in this moment, this boy is losing his only living relative officially. It is so when season 1, episode 19, which
He
is like
says,
still my favorite
he
season.
says after he kills the demon and he's on the floor, he says, the reason why I've done all of this is for her. When he thinks she's dead,
Yeah.
he's on the ground and he's like, the reason I've done all of this is for Nezuko. And it's like, it's fucking heart-wrenching.
Yeah. I literally thought because of the way they showed the montage of all of their moments together, and I thought back to season 1, episode 19, which is still the best episode to me. The first time he ever had to truly like protect her on that level because Rui was threatening to take his sister away. And that was a demon that he truly could not beat. He realized that in that moment, like, I literally can't beat this guy. He's beating my ass. And that's the first time he activated Hinokami Kagura. And I teared up at the end of the episode when the song of Kamado Tanjiro comes on. That was like the biggest episode. It was all over Twitter. It went crazy and everything like that. We talk about it often because it really is a masterpiece episode.
Yeah, it really is.
And the reason why is because the stakes were really high, right? Like there was no one to come save Tanjiro in that moment. He had to do it himself. And I really felt like this demon could potentially take his sister away. And now we have this moment that the stakes were, again, really high. The sun is on your demon sister. You've seen what the sun does to demons, including Upper Moon 3. They have to, they run, including
They run from it.
number 3, who just honestly zero diffed Rengoku. I got people got to stop coping. Like Rengoku, it wasn't even close. Like stop it. I know people like Rengoku and all that stuff, but Akaza wasn't even trying to kill him. He literally wasn't trying to kill him. So if you want to be technical, like he didn't use his blood demon art. Like he didn't get threatened at any point. The only thing that scared him that entire fight was the sun. I say this all the time because people love Rengoku for some reason, and I get it. Like you can like the fire Hashira, that's fine. The flame Hashira, that's fine.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But what we're not about to do is act like that man was even relatively close to Akaza. Akaza's.
I will say this though, he got hoed because when they do kill Akaza, I don't know. I just already know I'm not gonna like it because like I don't know. Maybe I will like it.
Well, Tanjiro's going to kill Akaza, so you won't like it.
Tanjiro's going to kill him. It'll look cool, but I think you will. I don't understand. I don't understand why he's so strong. I don't get it.
Wait, who? Akaza or
Tanjiro?
Oh, me either. I don't
understand. Like, I don't understand how he was useless, and then he was like able to hold his own
to decapitate.
And, like,
he decapitated Upper Moon in the last season. In season 2, he decapitated an Upper Moon. He fucking cut their head off.
And then he just straight held his fucking own with number 4. Like, there's a point in time where basically by himself, he's rumbling with number 4.
Yeah.
And it's like...
because Muichiro was gone. It was just Tanjiro and Genya with the shotgun, which I still don't understand. But, okay, before we get too far into this... My whole thing was, like you said, there was a moment being had where I genuinely thought, I don't know how they're going to continue this story now, but I love the fact that they completely blew away my expectations. That she was dead. That his sister, who he had been fighting for 3 seasons straight, at the end of the season, she's actually factually gone. She's dead. I could not believe it. And I was racking my brain like, yo, I don't even know what's supposed to happen. I was like, this is what's going to make him into a Hashira. He's going to be so pissed and so just like, I need to train. I have to get stronger. I wasn't able to protect her. I wasn't able, he's going to beat himself up really bad and he's going to become God level strong because that's what happens in shonen anime. Mm-hmm. I thought that loss was going to be what propels him to beat Muzan, basically. That was going to be the catalyst for him beating the big bad.
Dude, imagine if she dies, right? And then Tanjiro even kind of goes into like, I'm not saying like dark Tanjiro, but what I'm saying is like spoilers for Hunter x Hunter, like major spoilers for Hunter x Hunter. Although I'll try to avoid saying names. But an important person to Gon dies.
Yeah.
And then like that sends Gon down a very troubled path. He doesn't like become Sasuke, but in his own way, he goes down like a really dark path and he becomes like kind of brutal in a certain situation. Like it'd be cool to see Tanjiro, who for the most part for these 3 seasons, and something I like about him is like he's kind of like this ultimate good boy, and to see him like kind of fractured and like the death of his sister and like finally like a piece of him breaks. You know what I mean? He kind of loses a bit of the kindness that's in him or something for a little bit, and then he'll gain it back or something. I don't know, but we don't really get a chance to explore that part of his character. And then to the whole point of why I even brought all of this up, because you said you don't think Muzan made her. He did. And I have no confidence that there's really any more real mystery here, because we find out Muzan's whole backstory, right? Those two 5 and 4 are dead. The sun is up, 5 and 4 are dead. There are no demons other than Nezuko in this field. But Muzan from across the fucking planet, and as far as any demons that weren't dead yet, like as far as they know, she burned to death. There's nothing so Muzan immediately knows there's a demon that survived the sunlight. Even though for whatever reason he can't control Nezuko the way the other ones can, he still has a direct connection to her. He was able to immediately know a demon survived the sunlight. He knew who it was, when it happened. Like
real quick, because you saw the season more. You just finished it, right?
Like, I just watched it like 2 days ago.
Right. So you saw it more recently than I have. It's been a couple weeks now for me. And so some of the things are a little fuzzy, but when he saw her in the sunlight, it was like he was looking at some portal vision type thing, right? I don't know if I recall this correctly, but it was almost like he could literally see her in a weird way.
I wasn't sure.
Like an out-of-body way.
I'd have to see the scene again. I wasn't sure if it was just like an artistic choice and it was like them visualizing his internal mind, or like if he had like a portal that he could look through. I'm not 100% sure.
Because when I say portal, I don't mean literally like a fucking dimension portal type thing opened up, but I mean like he was, from what I remember, and I could just be making this up, but from what I remember in that scene, it was like he could see her literally. Standing in the sun.
That's kind of what I remember too.
I kind of remember him seeing her. He was in the library and he was kind of just looking at Nezuko standing in the sunlight. It was like it finally happened.
Yep. And now like, Muzan's goal is to get Nezuko and
to consume
the
her.
Thing is, here's the thing that's kind of also funny, right? So I think like Nezuko and all other demons are from Muzan. Now, granted, obviously mutations happen. She's a mutation. And so that's why she can survive the sun and he can't, even though she's from him. Mutations happen. That's fine. Just because your dad's hair is red doesn't mean your hair will be red. But I also think it's kind of funny because Muzan doesn't know the sun will kill him, like in my opinion, right? Because Nezuko was dying from the sun. The sun was killing her.
Bro, I said the same thing. Oh
Muzan
my God.
Doesn't really know the sun will kill him because like if he just went out the sun long enough, maybe he would live too.
Yo, I literally said the same thing. I said, so you mean to tell me that there's a chance this guy has been on a 1,000-year dummy mission?
Like,
because that would be
he might just be fine.
Like, that would be the biggest L of all time. If he was just on a 1,000-year dummy mission to walk in the sunlight, and this whole time he steps into it and is like, oh, wait, this actually isn't so bad. I would be so done. I literally said the same thing to Gary. I said, so we don't even know if he truly can go out in the sunlight. Like, because Nezuko thought the same thing, and it did hurt her for a second, and then it didn't.
Yeah, just like, what the fuck?
I mean, I would test it if I were him. I don't know. Like, I also think that it's a little strange that he knows that if I consume her, I'll get her ability. Like, I don't really get, where's the precedent for that? Give me him consuming an upper moon and getting their ability, and then me being like, okay, so that's how that works. He creates demons, they get strong, and then he says, I like that ability that has developed in you, and I'm going to harvest it now, and I'm going to take it from you. Like, I don't know, if he just consumed number 5, when number 5 said, I got some information, and he said, don't bring me secondhand information, and he fucking ate him. And the next thing you know, he was able to do like some pot shit. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. He can absorb the demons back to himself and he gets their abilities.
Yeah, like he creates them and then like they go off on their own potential and develop abilities that he himself doesn't have. Yep. And then he brings them back into him.
It's like Naruto training with the clones. Is he creates a bunch of contributions and then he cancels the clones, and now Naruto gets everything that the clones got while they were out. So I was like, that would be really cool. There's no precedent for him consuming another demon and getting their abilities. This is complete fucking nonsense. It's an ass grab. I don't really know what he's going on as far as the theory of.
And also, here's the thing. Once again, like as far as I know, there's no way he knows that for sure. There's no way for him to truly prove that, right?
Why do you?
And if he consumes her, he still has to go out in the sun and get fucking hurt for 10 minutes. Before he proves that, oh, the sun didn't kill me.
Yeah, it's a rant. It's honestly a rant because he doesn't know right now that the sun will kill him. And he also shouldn't be able to know that if he consumes Nezuko, that the sun won't kill him then. So I don't really get what it's based off. They didn't give us anything to go on. They didn't give us anything to grasp at to say,
not at all.
Like, oh, that makes sense. We can't say it makes sense because right now it just doesn't. And let's talk about the doctor demon for a second too, because I got a bone to pick. So Muzan can literally fucking see every demon on the planet, I guess. Like he just has a vision into whatever they're doing and living like.
Mm-hmm.
He can just at will just know what they're up
Not
to.
her.
Because also, if they say his name, you remember from the old seasons, they kind of they haven't done this in a while. But like in the old seasons, if you say his name, you die. Like you fucking actually.
He was like Voldemort.
Yes. Like if you say his actual name, you get. I don't even know what happens to you. You get unalived in the wildest
My assumption is like because like there's this idea that Muzan, as cool and creepy and scary as he is, there's this idea that he is in fear, right?
Yes.
Of the top demon slayer or whatever. We know he was scared of a demon slayer 100 years ago that I guess also is now his number one demon. I don't really know, but maybe because they look the same. But or 1,000 years ago, maybe. I don't know how fucking long ago it was. Whatever. What was I saying? Oh, but he can also see all of his demons at the same time. So my assumption is that like he's also in hiding, just like how the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps is in hiding and it's like nearly impossible to find. Muzan was like, okay, I'll play from the same book and I'll be in hiding so you guys can't find me.
Right.
And then like our minions will do battle with each other, right? And so basically one of the reasons why it was like illegal to say his name is like if a demon said his name and he had like a hive mind connection to all of the demons, he himself would activate to kill you because like he doesn't want you revealing who he is or his name or where he's at or whatever.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely in hiding. I never understood that though. For as powerful as he is, I think that maybe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't like cutting people off, or I don't like cutting you off.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
What you just said too reminded me of a feeling I had. There's a part where I think I don't remember if it's in season 2 or season 3 because like I said, I just watched them back to back. But it's Akaza. It's when Akaza's talking to him in the room. And he's like, I killed the Hashira. And he's like, yeah, you're supposed to do that. Like, you're supposed to kill Hashira, but you let 3 other demon slayers get away.
Yeah.
And, oh no. And then I think, and then in this season, he says, like, it's not that hard. Like, you guys have been looking for this thing for hundreds of years. You haven't found it yet. It's not that hard. And I was like, you find it then. Like, there's a part where he's talking, I think it's during the Upper Moon meeting. There's a part where he says, like, you guys have been, your goal has been to look for the blue spider lily for all of these hundreds of years, and you've made no progress. It's not that hard.
There's been 2 goals. It's that and also to kill his relative.
Yeah, and he says that, and it's like, okay, well then why haven't you done it?
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking come down on your kids and say it's not that fucking hard and start abusing them. Like, you didn't do it.
His character now is just so bad to me. It sucks because I really did like this villain a lot, but now his motivations are so dumb. He was laying on his side, sickly, in the fucking early thousands and just talking about how I want to destroy everything. And that's his motivation, bro. Like he was so mad that he was born sick. Like I was born with asthma. I have fucking asthma. Okay. My lungs don't even work properly. But at no point in my life did I say, I just want to kill everything. Like that is just not how that works. I get it. He's a psychopath. He's a sociopath. He's all of those weird things, but it's rare to see a villain who's evil for the sake of evil. Like he's just evil, right? Like there's
even
nothing
like
else.
Even the bad anime, like a lot of them try to give their villains some other motivation. That doesn't mean they end up doing it well, but but like Muzan really does, at least at this moment, as of season 3, he really is just evil for the sake of being evil because he wanted to kill before he was a demon. He wanted to kill everyone.
As a human, he was like murderous. And then the doctor, he kept calling him the fraudulent doctor, right? Like, it's not going to work, but I'll take it anyway. Then he kills the fucking doctor. Like, as a human, that's a human decision that he made to just like, I'm just going to kill this guy. So he's always just been a little shit, but now he's lived for 1,000 years and his attitude has gotten way worse. Like, he's so bitchy. Like, I don't know. I look at him way differently now that I know his motivations. Like, when I didn't know, I thought he was so cool. But now I'm like, you're just bitchy.
Yeah.
Like you're so bitchy and whiny. Why haven't you found, like, why didn't you get my Newports from the store? Like, why didn't you play my tickets? Like, you didn't play the lottery from me. Like, he's just like, I don't know. He's like an angry parent. He's just like a fucking angry parent. And then he's like a parent that, you know, didn't want to have kids. Cause he even says like I was forced to turn
I was forced to turn people into demons. I was forced to like spread my kind. And like, now I finally don't have to do that anymore. It's like, dude, get the fuck over yourself, man.
Yeah. I don't know. So you seem to think that he did turn Nezuko and Tanjiro's family and all that.
100%. But he killed them and he turned Nezuko. And cause as of this moment, well, okay, no, that's not true. We know that, the current number 2 turned Daki and her brother into
demons. And we know that other demon level can turn people. They're the only ones allowed to do it.
But as of this moment, I don't know.
This is why I think it's a plot twist, because I think that now, granted, I don't really have much to stand on here because you could easily just refute me, by being an asshole because of how poorly the show was already written. But I was going to say they did set up a precedent about saying that other demons in the upper and lower moon level could turn. They could create demons. That's the only thing that I have to stand on here in terms of like why I kind of think that there's a plot twist with maybe number one who looks like Tanjiro, maybe for some weird reason. Because
I think if anyone's the
culprit,
the hidden armor, I think it's number two, right?
Doma,
just because like
yeah,
because he's already an asshole.
I do think Doma is going to play a bigger role. I'm hoping he will. If he ends up being a demon that they just fight and kill eventually, I'm gonna be a bit disappointed because he seems like a character that has more to him than everyone else in terms of the demons outside of number one, obviously, right? But something about number two, they even gave that little scene where you see him going back to a world where he's being praised or something. Yeah, and he had a weird hat on. I don't know what all of that means, but again, just the little developments with number two seem like he's more important than a lot of the other demons in the show so far. So I'm hoping that him and like,
I mean, to be fair, there's only three left.
There are only three left.
There's 3, 2, 1, and then Muzan.
Muzan, yeah. So I'm hoping that when we finally get to Doma and whatever's going on with him, it's not just him versus maybe Giyu or the number one Hashira, the stone one or whatever, and they just fight and he gets offed eventually. And it's like, all right, well, that's into him. I hope that there's more to it. Like, I really do. Also, it's a bit on the nose the way they set up the Hashiras and the upper moons this season. So it's so cheesy that you have a demon who's based on emotions like rage and hatred and passion and all these things, and then he ends up running into and essentially losing to a Hashira who's the love Hashira. Her title of what kind of Hashira she was never made sense to me. Like for the other seasons, the first two seasons, when you find out that there's a love Hashira, I was like, oh, that's interesting. All the other ones are like an element or something like that. Something that sounds like it could be a real tangible thing, like the snake Hashira, the mist Hashira, the wind one, the water one, all the flame, whatever, right? There's all these different kinds. And then you get to the one that she stands out so much. Love, she's the love Hashira. So she never made sense to me. And then when you finally see her fight, this probably will be the only fight that she has. It's like, oh, she's the love Hashira who coincidentally runs into the demon whose main thing is hatred. In his final form, his tongue said hatred. So that's the opposite of love. And that made me realize just how cheesy and childish the writing was. I was like, yo, I get that this is a shonen, right? I get it. Like, that's not lost on me. This is a shonen. But there's a lot
of really good shonen.
Yes, that's the thing. It's a little too on the nose, don't you think, Kenny? Like,
I agree.
Fights, her ultimate evil is the hatred demon.
I fully agree. Now, like, granted, I love her character design. I really like the way she fought. Her backstory was fine too. Like, once again, and I was talking about this with Connie. The characters just kind of get introduced, and there's no build up to them, and they also act like I love how they act like they have like this whole relationship with Tanjiro. Like, I don't know, characters just kind of get introduced. They're best friends with Tanjiro, and then like, they have one backstory scene in the middle of the fight, and that like there's no build up to the character, but whatever.
You are
I like, because I just want to make like I like the characters. Scene. I think they have great designs, and the characters for what they are cool. In a vacuum, I like her. I like Muchiro. Yeah. They're cool characters, but in the context of the story, they literally show up, they fight. There's a random backstory scene in the middle of the fight, and then like the fight's over, and then like then if next season's anything like the last seasons, they no longer matter. The sound Hashira is gone. The flame Hashira. I mean, these two aren't permanently injured, so I'm guessing they'll come back.
Yeah, Shinobu. I don't know if we're ever going to see her again, but like she, is out of the picture.
So I had a theory, but then the theory slightly maybe got dashed. Did you the next season's announced, right?
No, I didn't know.
So the next season has already been announced. I just saw the poster, I think last night.
Okay.
There's a poster for it. It's called the Hashira Training Arc. Okay. And it shows all of the Hashira that we haven't really seen yet. Like the one that's praying, the snake one, the wind one, and it's called the Hashira Training Arc. So my guess is
on the poster or whatever, or is it just the ones you haven't seen?
Shinobu's on the poster.
Okay.
All of the ones that haven't had basically an arc yet, like Giyu is on it. They're all there, and then I assume these two will probably make an appearance too. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, my point is, it's called the Hashira Training Arc. My guess is that now that shit's getting real, they're training for the final encounter at Muzan. Right. Before I saw that poster, I was going to really OD, and I'm going to do it anyway, because I still kind of think this is going to happen. We had season 1, right? And basically, I consider the movie part of season 1.
Me too.
But season 1, we barely beat a lower moon. Season 1.5, we beat the top-ranked lower moon, and then lose to an upper moon, and a Hashira dies. Season 2, We beat an upper moon, and a Hashira is retired. But we go from not beating an upper moon, we kill one upper moon. The next season, we kill 2 upper moons. There's only 3 upper moons left.
Oh no!
And if my math works, the next season we kill 3 upper moons.
And then Muzan will be the last season. After that.
So before I saw the poster, this is 100% what I thought. I said, literally, because I lost all faith in the writing.
Yeah.
I said, next season, we kill 3 upper moons. We kill 3, 2, and 1 next season. Damn. And then there's a movie for Muzan. Like,
yep, that sounds
there's
perfect.
a movie for the final. And
like,
but now
bad.
what I think might
happen.
happen, it's called the Hashira training arc. Now, this might still happen. We might kill 3 upper moons while we're training as Hashira.
Stop.
But what I think might happen now is maybe the next arc is the Hashira training arc. They train or whatever. I don't know what that. But then maybe there's 2 seasons left. But regardless, we kill 3 upper moons, and then I think they'll do.
You can't just keep saying that.
We get a movie for Muzan.
You can't just keep saying we killed 3 upper moons, bro.
I think in one season we kill 3 upper moons, and then we get a movie for Muzan. That's 100. That is what I'm calling. And even worse, we kill all 3 upper moons and Muzan in one season. But what I'm guessing is we kill 3 upper moons in one season, and then a movie for Muzan. That's my fucking call. I'm calling it now because it only makes sense mathematically.
Okay, so I like your theory. I like your math. It all checks out. I'm an accountant, so that's like my thing. And I do like that you went from 0 to 1 to 2. So the next logical step is 3. The math is mathing.
There's only 3 left.
The math is mathing. It's mathing. I don't know what to tell you.
We killed 2 upper moons this season. You think we're going to waste a whole season killing 1?
Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true, though. When you put it like that, I don't see another season being based on just 1 upper moon now.
How could it? Like,
do you think Akaza would get a whole season? Like, no.
No, I used to think that.
But yeah, there's no way Akaza's getting a whole season. You know that. There's no way. Akaza's not getting his own season. I'm sorry. He's just not.
He's not.
So...
And he's next on the list.
And Akaza, to me, I think that Tanjiro might kill him, but then I also think that Sanemi...
It's got to be Tanjiro, right?
I think it has to be Tanjiro narratively, but they haven't really cared about narrative. So I was going to say the other one would be Sanemi, and I don't know why. It's something about the rage in Sanemi's eyes and the rage in Akaza's eyes. They're like ragers. They kind of have this like, for lack of a better word, rage. They're just ragers.
Yeah.
And I could see them 2 fighting and it being like a thing where they both get severely injured constantly, but they don't stop. They just keep going, and then eventually, one of them dies. I want to bring down this Love Hashira a bit, though.
Okay.
Or not necessarily bring her down. I want to bring the writer of Demon Slayer down.
Oh, yeah, the love-hatred thing.
Yeah, so I want to bring her down. So I already talked about that, and I think that's a little too on the nose that she ends up fighting against the hatred demon, and she happens to be the Love Hashira, which actually doesn't make any fucking sense. But, okay, that's one thing. The trope that's being done too much, for me, is the super strength, big-boobed girl character.
Like Tsunade.
And also Bisky and Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
And this has been a trope, Sakura. Like, this has been a trope.
At least Bisky turns ugly, though. I like Bisky because she starts off as a cute girl, and then she turns into Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And, like, at least, because, like, with Sakura, Tsunade, and then this girl, they're just stronger than everybody else, but at least Bisky looks stronger than everybody else. She looks like fucking Broly.
But it's been a overdone thing, and there are more anime. I can't think of all of them right now, but there are more anime where a girl who's beautiful, who's busty, has super strength, and it's just kind of a thing that is just done a lot. And I didn't expect it from this anime at all. Like, I never looked at Kanroji and said to myself, she's going to be super strong. But then the number 4 Han Tengu was fighting her, and he got to a point where like he went to attack her, and everything on her was fine except her clothes. And he was like, I just realized this human's body is like more durable than all the other ones. And then they go into a backstory while she's in a daze, explaining how she was able to lift up a rock, a boulder, small boulder, whatever, that was way bigger than her 12-week-old self.
I think they said it weighed like 30 kilos, I think they said.
Yeah, something ridiculous that a kid her size could not possibly do.
I don't even think she was 1 yet, they said. They said she was like, maybe she was like 1.5. They said she was like 17 months or something like that.
Yeah, they love giving these like women characters the super strength thing, and it doesn't really get explained too well. It's just kind of like they just have super strength. But then the other part that I don't like about her, as far as tropes go, is that she is obsessed with men, and it makes her honestly weak. And in 2023, I'm surprised that we're still just writing women characters like this. Like, not even to be some white knight social justice warrior type of guy, but it
I
is
get what you're
kind of,
saying.
her character to me was kind of lame. Like, her whole characterization is that she wants to be married, and that was her backstory, is that she was like going to be married to some guy, and it didn't go through, so she became a hashira instead to find a husband. So her entire, so just like Muzan's motivations are terrible, Kanroji's motivations are fucking awful, and they're actually just like low-key misogynistic. Like the fact that her entire existence boils down to, I want a man and I need a man, and that has made me strong enough to become a hashira. I'm searching for a man who's strong enough to handle me, so I became a hashira to do it. It's actually one of the worst stories, period, for a character, and I'm surprised that she's like multiple tropes in one. She's troped the fucking character.
She does have a lot of tropes. I did enjoy her a bit more than you, but I don't really care that much to defend it because there's not much in this season I like anyway. So
yeah, it's just like, why? I just didn't understand like why her whole motivation in existence is based on like, I want to get married, I want to find a husband, and that's all there is to me. That's all the depth that she has to her character. I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. Like there's nothing. And the same thing is true with like Sakura. Her whole motivation is, I'm in love with Sasuke.
Yeah.
Like that's her. And since the first episodes that you see Sakura, and her entire characterization is, I'm super strong, I have pink hair, I'm pretty, and I'm obsessed with this character. Look at Kanroji and tell me we're not looking at a fucking mirror. Like tell me I didn't just describe two characters in one set of characteristics.
They have very similar tropes.
So it's just
very similar tropes.
So I'm just like,
But once again, though, that's kind of like this whole series has been maybe not necessarily tropes, even though now it's getting more that way. This whole series, and we've said this from the beginning, has had pretty basic writing.
Yes.
But the writing wasn't offensive. Like from the beginning, I thought the writing was basic but enjoyable.
Yes.
And
now
the animation quality and everything else was great, but it was basic but enjoyable, and there was promise for great things. So that's the thing. It was basic, but there was a layer there that was like, oh, there's promise for something big. And then with each passing season, it's like it kind of built, and well, with season 2, it built even more, but I still was like kind of confused where it went. And then we started to feel like the pacing was like a little fast. It's like, and then we get here, and it's like, once again, episode 3, we're fighting. The rest of the season's fighting. There's not really any story. And then like the promise for the payoff is like kind of disappearing. So now the promise of the payoff is gone, or at least thinning. And the story is still really basic and not doing much, really. Like it's just kind of spinning its wheel. So now the things that aren't as good are starting to become more apparent. And
yes.
It's like
everything outside of the animation to me right now is just getting really bad. That's I know we've been going on like about this for basically, an hour in now.
I mean, look,
the truth is the truth. Like
there's a lot to talk about, and not a lot of it, at least for us. Now, I understand that a lot of people love this season and love the series as a whole.
It's getting trashed online too, though. It is, honestly. I went on YouTube against my because now I'm not gonna say that I would be happy if I saw spoilers, because I don't want to be spoiled still, right? But I went on YouTube for the first time ever in my Demon Slayer. I've never typed in anything on YouTube for Demon Slayer, bro. I've never done it. I went on YouTube.
You typed in like a season 3 review or something?
You hit the nail on the head. I literally typed in season 3 review, season 3 explain, season 3 breakdown. And I never would do that before because I was scared of what could happen, what you could see, the thumbnails that I've seen before. Like I've seen the number 1 Upper Moon way before they ever revealed him. Just because fucking YouTube recommendations showed me a thumbnail that was a 6-eyed Tanjiro looking person, and I was like, and he had demon eyes. He had the eyes. I didn't see, like, it doesn't say number 1. Well, I don't know what it says because I don't read Japanese.
Yeah, because it's in Japanese. Yeah,
but I saw a 6-eyed demon who looked just like Tanjiro's ancestor or like Tanjiro, and I knew like my gut told me that is the number 1 Upper Moon right there. And I clicked on hide. I'm not interested in seeing posts like this. And ever since then, they never showed me another Demon Slayer video ever. But like, so anyway, I still have to say, I went out of my way to avoid spoilers. I still don't want to see spoilers, but I did go out of my way to look up season 3 and see what people were saying, because I couldn't believe how bad I thought it was. And I want to see if maybe I was tripping, maybe I was like being a little harsh, and maybe I am. But then when I looked online, I saw that a lot of people were saying this season's mid, this season's payoff was not good, the reveal wasn't well done, the motivations are not good. Like everything that we're saying in this episode, there are multiple people saying the exact same thing, and kind of with the exact same type of reasoning. Now, not as eloquently and as long put as we do, because we do a podcast. A lot of it was short form content that was like 5 to 7 minutes of people just going in on it. One of them was the CEO of Moist, like the guy, I forget his name, but he runs Moist, who's like they sponsor Smash Bros teams and stuff like that. And God, what is his name? I don't remember his name. He's a long haired white guy. He has a video. He has a channel. He has 13 million subscribers. Okay, he made his own 10 to 20 minute video going in on season 3, and I was surprised because he was saying a lot of the things that I had already thought. I had an hour-long conversation post episode 11, the hour-long one, and everything that I was saying to Gary in that conversation was basically repeated.
Like that guy said, yeah.
Him and everyone else on YouTube was saying the same type of things.
Yeah.
So it's not just us who feels this way. Now, if you are listening to this episode and you feel like, you know, you like certain things about it, tell us what you like, because we do like things about it. It's not.
Yeah. There's things I like, and I still want it. Look, I don't want anybody's thing to be bad. I fucking love One Piece, and it annoys me whenever people say it's bad. But in my defense, usually when people say One Piece is bad, they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like
literally, someone just commented on our. I think Alex Flamer commented on our video for the One Piece trailer and was like, "I never got into it. I hate the art style." And it's funny because that was me. That literally
it was a lot of people,
me.
and like, you know, that's fine. A lot of my friends even said, like, you know, One Piece just looks like shit. But when they did read it, they were like, "Oh my god, it's amazing."
Yeah.
But anyway, something that's getting tired for me is I keep hearing people, and I've seen people say this about this season. Oh, I thought the season was really good, but I read the manga and I know where it's going. And there's a lot of people defending this season by saying they know where it's going. But here's my problem with this. People have been telling me Demon Slayer is top tier, one of the best manga anime they've ever seen read of all time. And they've been telling me that since season 1. And they said, trust me, bro, just wait. And I've been trusting bro and just waiting for 3 seasons in a movie now. And like, I'm losing trust and I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
So like, is season 4 going to be like, is that going to be fucking the best thing ever? Like, because here's the thing. I've trust me, bro, just wait on a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
But like, they got there at some point.
Yeah, they
like,
did eventually.
At this point, how many we're, you know, like 26 plus a movie.
Plus 12 episodes, plus 11 episodes. So I get where you're going. There's like 50 plus episodes of this.
By this point in One Piece, basically, the point that I'm getting to is like, but if I had to wait this long in One Piece, at this point, I'm at the Arlong arc. And there was a million things before the Arlong arc that were already fucking amazing to me. But then there's the Arlong arc, which I think is like, it's like the quintessential One Piece arc in that arc, like if you don't like I always say, like, if you get to the Arlong arc in One Piece and you don't like that, then you won't like One Piece.
Yeah.
Like that arc, I think there's arcs better than it later on, but that's the arc that like fully brings all together to me where it's like, this is One Piece. And like, if you don't like that, then like, fine, you won't like One Piece. Yeah. But my point is, I haven't seen the Arlong arc in this anime yet. And I feel like I've waited.
Yeah, you've definitely put in the time. We both have put in the time. I don't really see it getting, I mean, knock on wood, I don't really.
And there's only one villain. It's Muzan. And I now know his motivations. Yeah. So like, I just don't know where we go from here.
His motivations are so dumb. I'm still
all that's left is action, right? Because the story's done, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Whatever the story is, yeah, it's done. It's now Muzan's coming for Nezuko. So the goal is
we're at the climax.
Nezuko.
We're at the fight.
The goal is now defend Nezuko from Muzan, who's coming to her at full force. And the problem is, and this is something I just thought about, actually, this now doesn't make sense.
Well, hold on. What do you mean it didn't make sense? It doesn't now not make sense, but continue.
Muzan can see Nezuko. Nezuko was in front of all the Hashira and the Demon Slayer Master, and they're going to go back to him now to train for a Hashira training arc, apparently. Mm-hmm. And that's going to reveal the location because he can tell where Nezuko is clearly.
Allegedly,
right? Like he knows where Nezuko is. He's going to Nezuko. That's what he's about to do. So I guess I'm just a little confused on if he just blatantly saw Nezuko can walk in the daylight and he's been seeing her. There was a whole point when Nezuko was about to be killed by a group of demon slayers. They're about to fucking gangbang her in front of like her brother, and he should have been able to see that and be like, wait a second, this is where they, because it's not normal for them to bring a demon back. You know what I mean? Like,
my only lifeboat raft, I'll throw the right ink here. And here's the problem though, is every time we do anything, it's all conjecture on our part because none of the powers and how they work are explained. Yeah. Like even really the breathing isn't really explained. Like for whatever reason by the way, like Tanjiro, once again, I love his character, him as a person, as a kid, his character development, his decisions he makes. I fucking love Tanjiro. His power scaling, I fucking hate and makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
He just, thought about Zenitsu and did like fucking Thunder Step.
Yo, what was that?
Like he just randomly like,
What
oh, I
was
can do
that?
fucking Thunder Step.
With a
I was like, oh,
broken,
sure.
crushed foot, mind you.
Yeah, he just like did Thunder Step. Or I was like, oh, sure, okay. Tanjiro just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
He can do water breathing. He can do sun breathing. There was no electricity, but like he basically did a thunder breathing technique. Yeah. So whatever. So anyway, the point is the life raft. I'll throw Muzan's writing is maybe nothing alerted him to see Nezuko. Like at that, like even though she was there, maybe her, because she's like kind of infantile, she doesn't realize she's in front of the leader of the Demon Slayers. So there's nothing that like leads all the way back and alerts Muzan to like hone in and pay attention to this random demon. But like, I don't know, bro.
The other thing is that he's like killed the boy with the Hanefura earrings. So you know about Tanjiro and the boy with the Hanefura earrings. And if you turned Nezuko, because that's one of your theories at this point, is if he turned Nezuko, like you know that it's just a lot.
Even if he himself didn't turn Nezuko, he clearly knows where Nezuko is because as soon as she survived the sunlight, he knew.
The second
you cannot argue there were any other demons around because they weren't. 4 and 5 were dead and the sun was up. There were no fucking demons anywhere near to relay the information. The only demon there was Nezuko. So the only way he could have received the information that a demon survived the sunlight was through a connection to Nezuko.
Yeah.
Because the sun was up.
Yeah.
Like there was no other demons there.
It's really piss poor that we have to like make up these weird ass theories about it that are not good. Because I feel like the theories that we're coming up with to try to explain away this bullshit is it sounds bad. It just sounds bad. Like right now, I'm realizing that Nezuko was next to the Demon Slayer Lord dude who spared her life, and he's been looking for this guy forever. Well, you have a demon in their midst.
1,000 years.
You have a demon in their midst right now. Like, and then she's going to end up back next to that guy. Mark my words. Yep. And I don't know. And I'm thinking that maybe the finale is like the reason
that's
why
probably going to be how he fucking finds them.
That's what I was saying. Like the reason why he finds that guy finally is because of Nezuko, because of her.
Even though she was already there.
Even though that's why I mean it's bad, Kenny. It's so bad. It's indefensible. All right. So we've been talking about things that are bad and not being explained. Another thing that I don't like that just wasn't explained in this season, but it's been happening since season 2. And it was cool when it happened in season 2. I'm tired of it already. The marks that they're getting to get power-ups, I'm not a fan. So yes, it's cool that the Demon Slayer people are getting, like the Hashiras are getting these cool ass marks and they get a buff that makes them able to exceed their stamina limitations. Because even the demons are aware humans have limitations. One of the demons even said, I think number 5 was like, okay, he might be strong or whatever, but eventually all humans tap out, right? Like number 4, number 5 said that. They said like eventually.
I think it's funny about that though. My first thought was like, how cool would it be if there was like a Demon Slayer that just had like a ton of stamina.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Demon.
I mean, there's
like,
a love Hashira, so there could fucking be a Red Bull Hashira.
Yeah.
Like
and he goes, and like, he's not that strong. He's not able to like kill the demon or whatever. And then they're like, oh, like eventually you run out of stamina. And he's like, that's true, but eventually the sun will come up. And all I have to do, like, I don't need infinite stamina.
Yeah.
I need 6 hours until the sun comes up.
And he just keeps going. Yeah, that would be cool. Missed opportunity for sure. But the mark thing. So Tanjiro got an enhanced. He's always had a mark since the first time you see the kid. But then his kind of grew, and he got a crazy buff against Daki, and he started talking crazy to that bitch. He was like,
he really
for
did.
some reason there are 13 attacks, and all of them are moving awfully slow. And I was like, I don't know what my man is on right now. But when he said that they're moving awfully slow, and then they showed his perspective of how they were literally moving in slow motion, and he just started slashing all of them to one side and then stabbed them. That
was
shit
incredible.
It was fire the first time. Muichiro did it, and then he zero diffed the number 5. And I was sitting there like, well, wait. That demon was supposed to be stronger than the one I saw last season, and he just got zero diffed. And
he just did it.
And
here's the thing: when he did it, though, which it's still like, okay, he's the descendant of like the first sun breather or something. I don't know.
Yep, he's stronger than.
But then
Rengoku and all.
And granted,
guys.
Once again, I like these characters. I like Kanroji. I think she's really cool. But then, with no explanation, she seems to be a random farm girl. She gets a random fucking mark.
Yeah, she gets a mark.
And I was like, well, why does she get one? Because at the moment, it's Tanjiro and the descendant of a sun breather. So it's like, okay, it's a sun breathing thing.
Right.
Why the fuck does she get it?
Yeah, so they don't explain the marks themselves. They just get them. And I hate it. I hate random powers that are just not explained at all. No training. The person who gets the mark, they don't even know about the mark themselves. Like,
Yeah.
they don't even acknowledge it, which pisses me off. Kanroji, Muichiro, Tanjiro, none of them even acknowledge it themselves. Like, the
Yeah, they
mark
just have a
grows.
power up.
The
Like,
mark
this
grows
is
on
their
them.
nine-tailed fox. Like, they just but it's even worse than it, because at least the nine-tailed fox is it's a demon inside Naruto.
Yes.
This, they just get a nine-tailed fox power up, and we're like, why?
Let me tell you the
How did
difference,
they
though.
get it?
Let me tell you the difference. So, Bleach, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, pretty much everything. So in Bleach, he has a hollow inside of him. It comes out when he suppresses it back against his fight against Byakuya around episode 60 or so. He is aware of what just happened, and he addresses what just happened. When he same thing when he fights against Ukiura, and he basically kills Ukiura in a postponed way. And he apologizes, like, let's continue our fight. And Ukiura's like, unfortunately, the fucking form that you just had out literally zero diffed me to the point where I can't recover anymore. So Ichigo, the main character who isn't like not in control, but who has this demon inside of him that wins fights for him, he acknowledges that it's there. Naruto, when the fox takes over him, he literally, when he's fighting Sasuke, he's giving the red energy is coming over his body. He's looking at it with his hands in fear. You see Naruto literally like this, and he's fucking getting like the whiskers, they're growing on his face, and then he becomes feral and he gets down on all fours. So he acknowledges like, yo, this fox is taking over me, and I'm aware that this is a power up, and I'm aware of what's happening. Man, every shonen that I've pretty much seen, like Super Saiyan, like Goku's like, this is Super Saiyan 1. Boom. This is Super Saiyan 2. Boom. And this. And like, they acknowledge that they acknowledge the appearance. Like Frieza says, those blue eyes, that gold hair, like he knows, like that is the appearance of a person that I hate. Right? Like that, like the appearance change, because it's a physical change, but no one seems to acknowledge what is happening, including the characters themselves. So it makes it very like the gravity of it just is not there. You're getting a mark, but I as a watcher don't know why. You as a fucking character don't even know why.
Yeah, and if it ends up feeling as more of an ass pull, as more of a Deus Ex Machina, because once again, when it was just Tanjiro, it's like, okay, he's the main character, he's special, there's you know something happening.
I thought it was a demon inside of him. I was like, oh god, there's a demon inside this kid.
Yeah, and then it's Muichiro, and then it's like, okay, it's a sun breather thing, like he's a descendant of the sun breather, and so like he can do it too. And then it's Kanroji, and once again, this isn't taking anything away from Kanroji, it's the fact that there's nothing that explains, like she's not. The theory that I had was that, okay, it's a sun breather thing. And then
they dispelled that shit in the same season.
And then Kanroji just does it. And then it's like, well, okay, I guess it's not a sun breather thing.
And I was like, that's oddly
because the other person we've seen with it is the guy from 100 years ago.
Yes.
That's now number one. He has the marks as well. And it's like, and I assume he's a fucking sun breather.
Well, yeah, of course.
Anyway,
that's not the question.
So, and then like his doll that was made after him, right? The sword that was inside that doll has like flames on the blade, so it's very obviously like a sun breather sword. And then Tanjiro gets it and it turns orange and red or whatever. Anyway, I don't know. But then the whole point is like they get the marks that powers them up, and yeah, it's just completely unexplained.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't like unexplained things to this level. There's too many mysteries now in this anime, and I don't think it has much longer left. From what I understand from everyone who's read it and everything, they said that it's a very short story. This is not
it's clearly coming to an end, because
even if no one told me that it's short, I can see blatantly now that this is not going to last very long, because where else could they go?
There's either 1 or 2 seasons left.
Yeah.
That's it. There's not more than 2 seasons left.
But I was told from like season 1 that it's not very long and just, enjoy the ride type of thing. But like, it's kind of hard to do that right now when they're not giving me anything besides animation.
It's like, I wish it was longer though, right? Like imagine like if the manga was longer, like, cause that's something that people like to do. And people do this to me a lot because I'm like the biggest One Piece preacher out of a lot of people that know me. And people go like, people love to dog on it, and they'll go, like, oh, I'll just watch Demon Slayer because I can actually finish it before I die, or before I'm 40 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And like, that's fine. They're mostly saying it in jokes, whatever. But the point is, a lot of people have praised Demon Slayer for it being a concise story that like came to an end. But now as I'm going through it, it's like, I wish it was longer, because I wish he spent time building up the mysteries and building up the story and the plot. I wish the number 5 demon, like I wish they showed us, because he just goes, I found some secret information that you're going to like.
We
And
don't
then in
even
the
know
next
what
episode,
that was.
he's in the secret village that just so happens to be where Tandro is right now. We don't know how he got that information. He's now there. And then it's like, okay, that's random. But now there's another opportunity for there to be like some cool horror mystery thing. And then like, no, we're just fighting. Like there's never a fucking buildup or a breath that takes time for the story and the characters develop. It's literally just like... It's like The Walking Dead. It's like demons appear and then we're fighting. Like it's like people fall on hard times and then zombies appear.
That
like
is actually so accurate.
That is what Demon Slayer is. Like people fall on hard times and demons appear. Like that is what fucking Demon Slayer is. Like it's just like the demons appear and we're fighting. And that's that's like everything that happens. Like the story never has a chance to take breath. It's just demons appear, we're fighting. Like that's it.
That is literally Demon Slayer in a nutshell. It's The Walking Dead in disguise. People falling on hard times and then demons appear.
Like that's it.
So yeah, I'm not a fan of what's been happening this season. Not explaining the marks, not explaining Genya, not explaining the Muzan stuff really well, because they're just like, oh yeah, he got a love potion that turned him into a demon, and then he somehow knows that Nezuko can walk in the sun, and he's going to consume her, which is all conjecture. He's going to consume her, and that'll allow him to do it too. But then technically, you don't know if you go out in the sunlight just like she did, if it will kill you. So the whole thing is just conjecture, and it's like, why somebody who lived 1,000 years, everything that you're doing and everything that you have done is based on hypothesis? Are you fucking kidding me right now? And then they show him as an actual scientist, which makes this even funny, because he's using the scientific method basically. He just came up with a hypothesis. If I drink her blood, I will be able to walk in the sunlight. It's just all ridiculous. There's no precedent for it. We're being rushed through this thing. It's crazy. Like, I get it. The fights look cool. The characters look really cool. Like Muichiro, his hair and the way he moves. Also, the way when he did get his mark, the way he started fighting, that entire thing was absolutely insane to me. When that fish demon started shooting all of those spine things out and he cut through every single one of them in an instant, and he was like, there's no way he just parried every single one of those in one attack. Like,
I had a lot of fun watching this season. It's just that
visually,
I had a lot of fun watching it.
The way he zeroed
you take 2 seconds to think about it.
Terrible. Like the part where number 5 was bitching and complaining about, like, I can't find him, where is he at? And then Muichiro was walking through the mist. You just saw him shadow stepping like Killua. That part was really cool to me. He kept on freaking out, like, where is he? I can't find him. And then when he finally does come through, he cuts his head off instantly. He just zero diffs, cuts his head off.
It is crazy. When he gets his sword, he fucking no diffs number 5. Like, absolutely no diffs.
You know what my excuse for that was? I do try to defend things sometimes, even though we're an hour and 30 minutes in. You guys clearly know I'm not in defense mode anymore. But my defense was, at the time, for Muichiro zero diffing number 5, is that, okay, obviously Muichiro is one of the stronger Hashiras. There's a tier system. Within the Hashiras, they already said that the stone Hashira is the strongest one. They also said that there are prodigies that have become a Hashira in 1 month, and they blatantly showed Muichiro. So they showed you that there's a number 1, and I don't know where Muichiro ranks, but they blatantly showed
we know he's a prodigy. We know he's broken. And so it's like, okay.
So he is way stronger than Tengen was the one who was saying it, actually.
Yeah, sound Hashira.
So that's actually perfect that the sound Hashira is the one who said, there are people who are so much stronger than me, it's not even close, right? So then when you get to see one of them in action, it makes sense that maybe this is a way that they're showing us how powerful Muichiro is. My defense was Jiraiya in pain and then Naruto in pain. So you see Sage Mode for the first time when Jiraiya fights Pain, and it's this huge epic moment in the manga. It's one of the biggest developments in the entire Naruto series. It's like, holy shit, I thought that the characters were already really strong. I thought that the legendary Sani were really strong just because of what they could do already. But then you find out that the mountaintop is actually so much higher, and you find out that the first Hokage was actually using a technique called Sage Mode as well, that made him able to fight against the Nine-Tailed Fox and Madara with internal Mangekyo Sharingan at the same time and win. And it's all because of the Sage Mode technique, right? So it's like, yo, that's insane. And there are different kinds of Sage Mode. And then he fights against at the time, the leader of the Akatsuki. And he does a good job, but then you find out that it wasn't even close. The guy was only fighting with half of his power, only sent in 3 of his bodies. He zero diffs Jiraiya. At the end of the fight, all of the bodies that Jiraiya thought he killed are all resurrected. They're in mint condition, and they zero diff him with no question at the end of the fight. Like, basically, Pain took no damage. He sustained no damage whatsoever, and he zero diff Jiraiya. And this is after seeing Jiraiya's insane power up. So you're like, wow, that's a good way of showing us how powerful Pain is.
Yeah.
The way I feel about Muichiro is, they said, we're going to take a demon who's stronger than number 6, and have him be zero diffed to show how powerful Muichiro is.
Yeah.
That would work if there was more development. It doesn't work because I don't know if Muichiro is actually that strong or if number 5 is actually that fucking weak. I can't tell.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's also weird too, because I do feel like in a weird way, I don't know. I feel like the story builds up, especially the backstories and like him being related to a sun breather or whatever. I feel like it's built in a way where I'm supposed to believe Muichiro is stronger than Kanroji, but I feel like Kanroji was fighting a way stronger demon.
That's what I was thinking too. While I was watching, I said, didn't it get mismatched here?
Like she was fighting a way stronger demon, and to be like, she was doing good.
She was doing really good, Kenny.
She was handling.
She was doing really good. If she didn't have to protect people and save people, she was doing really, really good. Now, granted, I will say this, and I said the same thing to Gary, and like I think everyone agrees, we all saw it, but like she did lose, like technically, she lost the fight twice. One was she went in thinking that his head was exposed and she could cut his head off, and he blew the sound thing in her ears, and it blew her clothes off and it sent her into a comatose like state, daze. So when she got dazed, she would have died if they didn't tackle her out of the way, and then also she would have died being squeezed to death by the dragon that she was inside of. So she did like lose to him, but I did think it was weird that she was able to hold his own so much so that he said to himself, how the fuck is this human still going toe to toe with me?
And even with that, like, even though like he number 4, at least from my perspective, was way fucking stronger. So even though it's like, it's not even like a slight that she lost in a lot of ways, because like,
it's like
he's way fucking stronger.
Yes. But I did think that the season had a mismatch with who they were fighting. So Muichiro fights the blatantly weaker one, not even by our standards, but also by the
show standards.
Narratively, number 5 is just actually weaker. So I just thought it was weird that the Prodigy fights against the weaker one, and he does zero diff him. So I said, oh, I know what's going to happen. She's going to be struggling against number 4 real bad, and Muichiro is going to get there, and they're going to jump him.
And then like if the two of them were like, if 2 Hashira worked together and they still fucking struggled and then beat them, I'd be like things would feel like they make a little bit more sense.
I would be so happy.
It's 2 fucking Hashira working together
to fight
and
one demon.
And they do like some team maneuvers or whatever. And it would just, but that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's just not what happened.
Like Muichiro did nothing really, other than like he did nothing to number 4. Like they never really fought. Like Muichiro and number 4 didn't fight at all. Like he tangled a little bit with like one of the emotions. He made the situation
worse for Tanjiro than left. Like that's what happened.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just weird. There was a lot of things in this season that I felt were like just really weirdly written and then also just, we said in episode 1 review, like we laughed about it. I was like, because I forget what we said. We were like, do we think that where number 5 and number 4 are going is the same place? And it's like, yeah. Like there's 2 like there was 2 Hashiras on the poster, and there was 2 demons that got sent out by Muzan. Like, yeah, they're going to the same place.
It's
like, of course, like there's 2 Hashira on the poster, and there's 2 demons going out. Like, yeah, they're all going to the same fucking place.
It was on the nose then, and it's on the nose now. The love Hashira fights the hatred demon. Literally, like I can't make this shit up.
The guy with like no emotions and that's completely deadpan, he fights the guy that's over the top, super extravagant, and like
emotional,
is full of passion, right? Yeah. Like you could argue Muichiro has no passion.
Yeah,
he's completely deadpan.
He's the opposite of passion,
and he's fighting the guy with overwhelming passion. It's like, bro, whatever.
It's just it's on the nose. I want to talk about Hantengo a bit because there are some things about this season that I really this is like my, outside of the narrative, this is one of my biggest gripes of the entire fucking season. I hate Hantengo's character. Running. Not just that, the backstory that they gave for him was bullshit. It was nothing. First of all, it was nothing. Like they actually gave us nothing. It was like this guy was a thief and a murderer who kept saying that it's not me, it's my hands. I can't control them.
And that was it. That was his backstory.
And that was his backstory. Also, he looked like a demon as a human.
Yeah.
He had the same exact head as a human that he did when he was a demon, which I thought that was just from a character design perspective, I just was like, that's lazy. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, why does his human form look exactly like his demon form, but just, like lighter, I guess? I don't, his character design was terrible. Then, like you just brought up, and I brought this up earlier, there were at least 5 scenes in this season of him in his miniature mode running away from the demon slayers, and that shit drove me so crazy. The first time I saw it, it was one thing. It was like, okay, this is like slightly comedic, even though I don't think that it should be in this moment, because Tanjiro is getting attacked by a taloned, fucking fanged demon in the sky who's like flying past him back and forth. Tanjiro's trying to get some defense. He's getting stabbed up real bad. And then you have this miniature version that Tanjiro sensed. Now, when he first sensed another demon, he was like, there's a fifth one. I got nervous. I was like, yo, if one of them is invisible, like Madara's, the Limbo clones, I was ready to lose my mind. Like, how are they going to deal with an invisible powerful, but then it ended up being just a small version that was a coward and it would run away every time. And even the way the running looked dumb to me.
Yeah.
Like it looked very cartoonish. The animation up to this season has been stellar. I'm gonna give it to you though. There were two really bad things that were animated this season. So people complain about the fish. I don't care about the CGI fish. That didn't bother me. What bothered me,
it didn't bother me either.
The running of the miniature Hantengu, and also there was this random scene, go back to it if you're listening to this, where he went and hid inside of a tree branch and like a log. Basically, he hid inside of a log. You remember they like literally sliced the log open, like they triple teamed the log, and he was inside of it. There was a part where they went to go attack the log, and these vine whip things came out, and they started like whipping real crazily.
Yeah,
it looked like Tom and Jerry. Specifically, the vine whip thing, it was a repeated animation thing. So it was like the same 3 frames repeated over and over. You just kept seeing like a vine whip, and the way it was drawn was so shitty. The animation was so low quality. It actually was jarring to me that after the episode, I said, Gary, is it me? Or was the vine whip part when Hantengu was inside of the little like log thing, was that just like really budgeted for some reason? Like just really low budget for no reason? And he was like, yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, yeah, that was like really awful animation out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere, it was bad. So animation for compared to all the other seasons, the animation this season, as it was obviously still good in a lot of places, but it did have the weakest animation scenes that I've ever seen in Demon Slayer so far. And then his character with the miniature run thing 5 times in a row, like bro, the episodes 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 had him running away. And
well, let me say this.
Same thing.
Exact note, and this is something me and Connie were talking about that kind of annoyed us. Once again, every time Kanroji was fighting, like the shit she was doing, her using her ribbon sword looked so fucking cool to me, and I really liked it. There's a part where they cut away from her fight, and literally the rest of her fight is off screen.
Yep.
And we just get Tanjiro and friends chasing Hantengu, and like the next 2 or 3 episodes or whatever is just Tanjiro and friends chasing Hantengu, and like we never get to see her fight again until the very end after it's over and we know the demon's dead and we see like what happened as the demon died.
Which
but like
also was terrible directing.
I would have loved if we got to just, because here's the thing, one of my complaints with Demon Slayer is that for the most part there's not really any story and it's all action, right? And so I wish I got more action in that, because when you weren't showing me the action, it's not like you were giving me story. You were just giving me him chasing a scared demon. Like I would have rather just watched her fight and do cool shit. Like
I'm mad that we didn't actually get to see her fight for real. It was off screen, and then what made it so weird, this is some bad anime directing too, if I'm being frank. So when things are adapted into an anime from the manga, sometimes they move things around and they change things up to just make them make sense for an anime, because that's a different medium. They will literally move things around, take a scene that happens later in the manga and move it up earlier or allude to it earlier to make it make sense for a narrative of an anime as opposed to a manga, because they are literally different.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought that wasn't really well done was that Tanjiro decapitates Hantengu. Hantengu is officially dead. Like we see him, he's dead. Then they switch to Kanroji losing the fight to number 4, where there are no fucking stakes now, because I know that the demon is dead, guys. Like, why would you show me that at that? You should have showed me her struggling and running out of stamina and then switched the scene back to Tanjiro. Like her panting, her sign disappearing on her chest, and me being like, oh shit, Ahasha's about to die again. And it's like, and then the scene switches as a dragon's flying towards her. Like literally the dragons are flying towards her. She's on the ground panting, and she's like, I have to just keep going. And then like it just switches seat. Like that would have been way better than me seeing her literally being smushed inside of a dragon after I saw it decapitated already.
Yeah, we already know he's dead. So like,
so I knew that he was going to fizzle away. Here. Just there were no stakes, and I'm sad about that, because even with the Tanjiro sister surviving, even with Nezuko surviving, I thought that there would be stakes, and then they just took those stakes away. No Hashras died this season; they took those stakes away. The village chief didn't even die. I thought at the very least
there were no casualties other than nameless characters.
Nameless characters, which we do not consider actual casualties. I'm really annoyed that the chief didn't even die. If they would have at least killed the chief, I thought that would have been cool, because then you could argue that was a huge blow to like the Demon Slayer.
The Demon Slayer society.
Yeah, like that would have been a huge blow to them. And it's like, yo, that man possessed techniques that have not been passed down. Like, all this information is lost. These could be the last several swords that we have. We have to, the war between demons and humans has to end soon, because, something crazy like that narratively would have been cool. Maybe not like that, but a way that someone who's an actual writer come up with it. But what they actually ended up doing was the village chief gets saved. We never see him again the entire season. And then you just kill both the upper moons and there's no casualties. So no one actually died. Not good. There were no stakes. Just no stakes this season.
Yeah, it's weird. I do think I think that people will die going forward. I don't know who or how many. I think there's no way, as little faith as I have in the writing right now in this story, I think there's no way Muzan shows up and someone doesn't die. Like, there's going to be another Hashira death. There has to be. Like, because there's no fucking way Muzan shows up and another Hashira doesn't die, right? So I do think that'll happen at least. But I also just think, like, legitimately within the next season, unless the next season is a full training arc, I think we're just going to, like, literally 3, 2, 1, kill the next 3 demons. And then I truly think they're going to go for a movie for the end of Muzan, because I don't see why they wouldn't. It worked so well with the Rengoku movie. And I don't see why not. Like, Demon Slayer also prints money. Like, so I don't see why they wouldn't do a movie for, like, the finale. So that's what I think. I think 3, 2, 1 will die in a season, and then we'll get a movie for
I can't get over 3, 2, 1. Oh god, that would be so bad. Yeah, I really can't defend it too much. Like, your maths out, and they haven't given me any reason to believe that isn't the fact that that's on the table. And I have an argument for everything. Like, I'm usually able to give a good logical response to pretty much anything. I have nothing because of how bad the writing has been this season. That's really all I got. Like, the squeezing thing, I brought that up earlier in the episode. I guess I'll just quickly go over that. But, like, just go back, if you've seen the season, think about all the times you saw characters being literally squeezed, and it was like 18 times this season. No one ever died from it. No one was even severely injured from it. They just kind of got squeezed. And I don't like Genya, the Love Hashira, Tanjiro again. Tanjiro got squeezed inside the dragon. Then he got squeezed when he actually made it to Hantengu, when he started cutting his head off. He turned around.
He got squeezed by the big one.
Yes, he turned around and said, "You looking down on me?" And then he just got really big and started squeezing his fucking head. I was like, what? And then Nezuko was getting squeezed by number 4 as well.
Which, by the way, this is the number 4 demon. Why squeeze his head? Just twist it. Just fucking twist his head. He's dead.
And then
he's a human.
The fish thing was squeezing the village chief instead of just killing him. You've been given instructions to kill the village chief. That is what you were literally given a directive to do. And you get to the village chief, and instead of killing him, you go like this, and you're just a CGI fish that's gigantic, stomping left and right at everyone who pokes at you. You have the village chief in your hand. You have another demon, another swordsmith in your hand, and you refuse to kill him, but you're squeezing him. It's like, you could have just not showed me him doing that.
Yeah.
It would have been better, honestly. If you just didn't show him squeezing him like that, it would have literally... And then after... So I thought, like, maybe... Because the village chief was bleeding. I said, maybe he's going to be dead anyway. Like, when she saved him, I was like, maybe he's going to be like, thank you for doing what you could, but please go after the other villagers because I'm already dead. And then he dies, and it's like, wow, that fucking sucks. But no, he's fine. And all of the squeezing that happened, there's more... Oh, the little kid got squeezed almost to death as well.
Our army, the good guys' army, took no losses. Like, during this bout, the good guys' army took no casualties, whereas the bad guys' army lost 2 of their allegedly strongest fucking soldiers.
Yeah, characters who have lived for hundreds of years.
At this point, like, it really is just 4 demons left. You can throw 1,000 other like, literally, it doesn't matter. Like, if literally Tanjiro is in front of 1,000 regular demons, there's not like, he kills all of them. Like, he will no diff 1,000 regular demons. Like, it does not matter. Yeah. So like the good guys took no loss here, and then, like, the bad guys lost like 2 of their main soldiers. And
so we can't see any more regular demons because there's that's just dead, right? Like, the regular demons, just forget about them because you've already gone to the top of the mountain, right? Like, we've been fighting upper moons,
to the top.
Like, there's no reason for us to even go into regular demons. That just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I do find it to be kind of crazy that we're at a climax already in this anime, but I don't feel like it's been long enough to be reaching a climax. Like, 3 seasons, sure, some anime can reach a good conclusion by then. I don't feel like this is going to be a good conclusion, though, because what are they going to kill? They're going to kill Muzan, and then he's not going to get his wish, or he's going to kill the sister and be a daywalker, but he's still going to die. Like, what are we doing? I really don't know.
Obviously, it's an anime. It's like, obviously it ends with like the end of all of this, Muzan dies, right? But the point is the journey, right? Like when you get into any story, like at no point do I think the bad guy wins at the end. Some stories do that, but that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
So obviously Muzan loses in the end, but the road there needs to make sense. And when it finally happens, it needs to be satisfying. And I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to make that satisfying, at least not at this current juncture.
The other thing I wanted to say is that Han Tengu, as cool as he looked when he fused into one, because he looked cool as shit. That first episode when he transformed the end of it and they showed his new form and he was pissed. He was like, the episode was named something too about him being pissed. And he ended up saying it to Tanjiro that you're pathetic for attacking someone who can't even fight back. Yeah. And he was looking down on Tanjiro, and Tanjiro almost started to feel bad. And he said, "Wait a second, you killed."
He's like, "You motherfuckers."
He was like, "Yeah, you killed thousands of people. Actually, I shouldn't feel bad about fucking killing you. Like, get out of here." So I love the gaslighting. That was really well done. But then what I didn't like about number 4, and I'm ending the episode after this. What I didn't like about number 4 was that he decided to stand in one spot the entire fight.
Hey, he didn't move.
He never moved. And I thought that was so bad. Like, as cool as
I thought it was cool. Like, I thought the drumming was cool as shit.
I thought it was insane.
And how he used all the powers. But I would have loved... His character design was so sick. I would have loved to seen him throw hands.
Yes.
Like, I wanted to see him throw some fucking hands.
The fact that he did no taijutsu whatsoever really bothered me. The only time he technically moved from his spot was when he went for Kanroji, because he said that eating her would be really, really good to get stronger. Yeah. That was the only time where he moved. The rest of the fight, he stood in exactly one spot. And even when they went back to the fight where she was being killed, basically,
he was still standing there.
He was still standing there. So I just thought, wow, this is super lazy. I guess the manga had to be the same way, but it's just really lazy that he never moved. Like, you didn't have to animate him moving, just these stupid CG dragons that, again, the CG dragons they weren't really effective. So that was also annoying to me. Like, I thought that he was scary. When they were split apart and there were 4 different demons, I was so much more afraid of them then than I was when he did the dragon thing. Like, personally, they just seemed way worse. When the one guy kept on stabbing his staff on the ground and it would thunder shock people in an instant, and they would be like, that hurts so bad and all that. And then he like destroyed that entire building to reveal their locations. And I was like, yo, I don't know how they're supposed to win. Then the one guy with the fan who he waved the fan down the hallway that Tanjiro was running down, and that shit
obliterated.
Bro, I was like, how are they supposed to? You can't get hit by any of this.
No, they were all 4 of them were absurd. And then the dragons obviously were absurd too, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not much came when it was all said and done. As pretty as it all looked, like, just nothing really came from any of it.
Yeah,
just kind of. But yeah, the next arc is coming. I don't know when it comes out, but the next arc is already confirmed. There's already a poster for it and everything. Obviously, we're gonna review it, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so real quick before we get out of here, 2 things. I'll give a shout out to the Patreon people. Thank you guys so much. But also, I have a listener letter that I promised that I would get to this episode.
Oh, speaking of listener letters, just I want to say on that note, I know people. If you disagree with any of our points, and if there's things that you legitimately really like, I truly want to hear from people about this episode of this season of Demon Slayer. And so if you have counterpoints or things that you don't agree with or whatever, or whatever, just. I'm interested in people writing in a listener letter, and to give their opinion on this season of Demon Slayer as a whole. Just no spoilers for what's coming up.
Yeah. So, okay, we have a listener letter, and to send them in, you can write into IMNerdpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read your letter aloud on the show. Again, that's IMNerdpodcast@gmail.com. So this one comes from Doc and Ziggy, who actually was an optional boss on our Patreon before. We did a whole episode with him and his podcast called The Flood with Doc and Ziggy. So check that out. So he writes in and says, "Hey guys, so we, the people of planet Earth, have a problem. While I was in a meditative state, I heard a signal being broadcasted to my tinfoil hat. It was definitely aliens. They told me that they are going to destroy the world with a big space laser thing. So then this next part is in quotes. It says, to Earth, we will destroy the world with our big space laser thing unless the hosts of the IMNerd podcast defeat our champions in a tag team contest. However, no Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Dark Eradicator Warlock is sold out on TCG Player. GPS says we will be there in a week. To prepare, we shall be watching YouTube. So Fraser and Kenny, my question to you is, What are you two going to challenge the aliens in a tag team contest? Remember, the safety of the world is legitimately, certainly, positively at stake. Trust me, bros. From Doc and Ziggy.
Okay. And it can't be Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, I wouldn't pick Yu-Gi-Oh anyway, but that would be Fraser's round.
Yeah.
But no Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay.
So we have to play them in a game, some sort of tag team contest. Not necessarily a game.
Is arguing a game? Would love to argue.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, me and you could go for. Oh, they never win. I mean, they would never win.
At the very least, even if we don't win, the Earth would last for a long time. Like we'd keep you all alive because we'd argue.
The other
we
thing
would fucking argue.
The other thing that we could do a tag team contest and they have no chance in is eating your mom's cooking. Like who could just eat the most of it? They just have no shot. They have no. Kenny's mom is like a true born Italian, like through and through. And I'll never forget. I might have told this story in the podcast before, but I'm gonna tell it now just in case. We're on episode like 150 something, so it's been a while. But yeah, there was a time where me, Kenny, and another friend of his that was over at the time, we were all chilling, and I was like, "Yo, why don't we get the ingredients to make spaghetti? Like we want to make spaghetti. We're gonna, we're gonna make spaghetti. Like we as a group, we're gonna make spaghetti. We're gonna eat it. It can't be that hard to make, right? You get sauce, you get noodles, you get the meatballs, whatever. We just buy the meatballs. We don't have to make them ourselves. Put it all together. We have spaghetti, and we'll all eat. We were basically like young teenagers, maybe early 20s. Like literally, when I say early 20s, because this was before I graduated college, basically. So like this had to literally be when I was like 20 years old.
It was like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, I was not. Yeah, so literally like actual, teenagers or young 20s. So we're in the kitchen, we're making spaghetti. His mom comes home from work. She sees us in the kitchen doing what we're doing. And obviously, she's a nice woman. She didn't I could tell that she felt like we were doing a bad job, but she did not say it. She just kind of took over a whole operation. And it was one of the best things I've ever seen. She literally took over the entire kitchen from us, like literally made us go sit down. And she started working in the kitchen. We were still in it though, because his kitchen is like really big. So there's like a table, a huge table that we used to call the rant table in Kenny's kitchen. And the rant table, we would sit there until like 4 a.m. And that's where our best rants would come out. We would just sit there at that table in the kitchen and
that's where this podcast was born, basically.
Basically, the podcast came from the rant table. So we would talk there for hours and hours. So when she dismissed us, we all kind of sat there. So we were able to still visibly see her. We're able to see the stove, the oven, and everything. She gets in the kitchen, takes over our operation. She makes from scratch. She makes garlic bread from scratch. I'll never forget this. Okay. She took actual just like bread that was in the house already. She like grated down cheese. Like she did everything she made the fucking whole Italian dinner from scratch right in front of us. I will never forget this. And when it was done, it tasted insane. Okay. Like, bro, I'll never forget. I just couldn't stop thinking like, how the fuck did that just happen? I was like, one, she's broken. At the time, I was like, man,
and two, we were not going to do that.
No.
Like, what we were going to come up with was not that.
Listen, our noodles were sticking together. We didn't know how to boil water. Like, we burnt water. It was bad. Like, we had no shot. We were going to eat it because we were just dumb boys. Like, we were just going to eat it anyway because we were hungry and, like, we wanted to eat the spaghetti. But our noodles were sticking together. Like, our water was burnt. Our garlic bread was store-bought. Like, everything about it was just not up to standard. And I'll never forget, I ate a plate of the spaghetti and then I ate some garlic bread that was handmade. And after that, I ended up getting like seconds and thirds, and it was so good. It was some of the best food I ever had. So I'll say all to say, if they challenged us to an eating contest, there's just no shot. Like I'll tag Kenny in, and then it's basically like we're Goku when it comes to eating, like bottomless pit. Like I can just eat that shit.
Yeah. And it's also not only that, it's like, just from my upbringing, it's like you got to eat all your food.
You
right?
do have to eat all your food.
Like,
in the black household and in the Italian household, you have to eat all your food.
You got to eat all your food. So I'm eating. So those aliens, I don't think they can out eat me. And I definitely don't think they can out argue us.
Yeah.
So those are two things. In terms of, I don't know, normal games, I don't know. Those are the game. Off the top of my head, I'm picking those two though. Eating contest and arguing. If we can't pick Yu-Gi-Oh for an easy free win on Fraser's side. On my side, I don't know. In terms of like competitive games, I'm not at Fraser's level. There's no game that I've played where I was at Fraser's level. So I don't like, whereas Fraser could confidently pick you. There's a reason why he only specified Yu-Gi-Oh.
You know what I was thinking about though? Yeah, I know, right? You know what I was thinking about though? Something that would be fun. To just put it all on Mario Party.
Oh,
just put it all on.
I am kind of saucy in Mario Party.
Listen, Kenny, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I'm
kind of saucy in Mario Party.
Kenny's manipulative. He's persuasive. He's like very subtle. And if you're not paying attention, he can get you. So if you don't know him well, I feel like you can easily get got by the things that Kenny says. He's like another version of Silverman who just never took Yu-Gi-Oh! As serious. And so I say that to say, I feel like we play Mario Party because the other thing about Mario Party is that it's just luck anyway. Like not literally all of it, but it is a lot of luck is in Mario Party. So I like putting the fate of the win. Exactly. I like putting a lot of the stake of the entire world on just a die roll. Like I like it to come down to we were losing the entire Mario Party, and then at the end we got the Bowser or like the Boo that literally reverses like all the stars or whatever, the star counts, just trades them. Awesome. I would love that the whole fate of the world came down to that, and everybody's mad at us like, yo, you put the fucking fate of the world on a game of Mario Party, and we look at each other like, yeah. So that's mine. Like mine is just to make it something completely luck based. That
I'm with that.
It's like, yeah, it would be fun. There is some skill involved in Mario Party, obviously, but at the end of the day, if you roll terrible constantly, you're probably not gonna have a good time, right? Like we could also,
I just realized we can also just cheat. So there's Mario Party, and then if we have to pick 2 games, right? Which if we have to pick 2 games, there's Mario Party, and you excluded Yu-Gi-Oh, but we'll just play them in DC.
Oh God, it's not even close. DC deck building. Oh God, yeah, that would be bad too. I almost feel bad at the thought of it. Like, damn, like the aliens are just going to get 0 diff sent back to their home planet with nothing. Like they didn't get any water. They didn't get the Earth. But yeah, that's our answer. So this was actually a fun one. I really enjoyed this. It was really quick and easy. All right, let me pivot over to Patreon, and we are officially going to get you guys out of here. So we do have some new patrons and stuff, and I know some of you guys like to troll and change your names.
Yes, they do.
To really interesting things. So all right, let me sort this by the active people because there's a lot of you. All right, we have, hold on. Okay, Connie. This is getting worse. This is getting so worse. All right, we have Connie, Ronathan, yes, I'm real. Ronathan, yes, I'm real. Leon, and then let me scroll to the bottom. Hold on. All right, Rogan tier 2 aren't bad. They just aren't great. Garen Williams, Xavier Swift, Hylian, Dimitri Barnes, Meow, Dominic Roberts, Giovanni Avalos, Alex Flamer, Andre Reynolds, Dan Vrabel, First to Home, S. Akuma, Mitchell Nels, Midwest Gaming, William Shapiro, Dimitri Sophirdis, Vince Marquette, Dallas Bailey, Roz Weiss, Nick Stengo, Hanso are 2-time national champion, Ka Chan is a poorly written character, Sarah Maria, Sunny Top Cut Podcast, Alex Ahern, Philip Campa, Chris Lynn, Wookie 159, Edison Club, Kyle Botelho, Brandon Moore, Sugal, Nick, Mr. Soul Tie. Shout out to you, Mr. Soul Tie. We actually played each other round 1 of Deck Devastators, the one that just passed this weekend. Natha, Corey Fowler, Omar Ramos, Elijah Barfoth, and then
A True Hero, Tyler Tadeo, Majora X, Anthony, Matt Glenny, Big Stinky, Ronathan is not a real name, Duty Booty, Adam Corey, Enraged Peacock, Leo, Leo Bacani, Janitor 215, Metal Gear Volvi.
I don't know what's going on.
Metal Gear Volvi, Thomas Rude, and Joshua Carroll. I think I said that correctly.
Yes, Joshua Carroll. So thank you, Joshua. Shout out to you and Thomas Rude. You guys are the 2 newest people. Also, I like Metal Gear Volvi. Clearly, somebody's been paying attention. Volvi is so unhinged. There are multiple Volvi names now, and I'm so happy about that because literally, that's probably the best video I've seen all year. Like, just actually, at least on YouTube. Spider-Verse was the best, like, actual video thing that I've seen this year. But outside of that, Volvi easily
was definitely better than season 3 of Demon Slayer.
Oh, not even close. I'd watch Volvi again. Like, I'd watch it again.
You already watched it again. You showed it to your one friend.
I did watch it twice. And then I shared it with everybody in our Discord server before the podcast to get them prepared for it. So that's how much I love Volvi. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. As we always say, it does go a very long way that you guys continue to support the IMNerd podcast. And don't forget to use those benefits. We do monthly exclusive episodes. We do shadow games that you can challenge us to and stuff like that. So look into those benefits, actually read through them, make sure that you're getting your money's worth. I don't want you to feel like, you just have to throw money at us just for the sake of it. Like, obviously, yes, if you want to support, I appreciate the support, right? We appreciate it.
Yes.
It does go a long way. But at the same time, I do want you to feel like you're getting something out of it. And I know we put up the early content. We put the video versions of the podcast on there. There's all types of stuff on there. Stuff that has never even made it to YouTube is on there too. So check that out. Make sure you're getting your money's worth. I just want to say that. And let me see. Is there anything else? I feel like there's one more housekeeping thing. Oh, so I'm off of work the entire next week. The whole week of the 4th of July, like that entire next week, I'm off. So I'm planning to do the 24-hour live stream. I want to start it Sunday this weekend, which is, let me get the exact date. So that is going to be Sunday, July 2nd. is when I want to start the 24-hour live stream. That is my goal. Now, the only thing that could change this and make me have to postpone it is there's an RBET this weekend as well, right? And the RBET is taking place obviously Saturday and Sunday. If I scrub out and I don't have to play on Sunday, then that makes it easier for me to just do my live stream. However, if I end up somehow doing well at the RBET, then I'll have to play in it obviously that day, and that might be a little weird. I don't know if I can live stream while I'm playing that. I thought about the idea, like, what if I just play like on stream, not with my, you won't see my cards.
Able to. Yeah, you'll just block the cards.
I will block my card. I will block out. Yeah, I will block the cards. What I would actually do, and I thought about this too, is I could do an OBS setup that is watching the game, and that's my view.
Yeah,
so it's a window that's watching the game, but it's not actually, you can't see my hand. Like you literally can't
it would
see
have it would have to be that.
Yeah, otherwise it would make no sense, right? So I thought about doing that. But we'll see. I mean, typically with these things, they're double elimination, and those tournaments just, double elimination is its own different thing. So we'll see how that goes. But basically, my plan is Sunday morning at around 9 a.m. Eastern time, I would like to be starting the stream around that time, and then go into Monday at 9 a.m. and end it around that time. So I say all of that to say the 4th of July is Tuesday, right? So this is the day, the stream will basically be over the day before the 4th of July. I assume a lot of people have off of work on that Monday because it's the day before the 4th of July. Like I was already, without taking off, I was already off that day, because it doesn't make sense to have the weekend off, then have work on Monday, and then the 4th of July Tuesday, so you're off Tuesday. Like my job is not like that, so they just gave us off anyway on Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the goal. The goal is 24-hour stream this Sunday, and yeah, so there will be Smash, Final Fantasy 16 I have. Obviously there will be Yu-Gi-Oh! Kenny, he's going to be obviously a part of it at points. And then a bunch of
I'll be showing up. I'm going to try to be in there as much as I can.
Yeah. And then we have other guests and stuff like that too, like people who will pop in to chat.
I'll tell you when I won't be there though, during FF16. I won't be there during FF16.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, I'm at the very beginning of the game. I haven't gotten far in it at all. I haven't really had that much time to play it. I've been really, really busy with multiple things, but I'm going to have a week off from work soon. So hopefully I will have the time to really dive into that anyways. I hope you guys are enjoying Final Fantasy.
By the way,
16.
chat, I don't know if you guys know, I do have a PS5 now. I don't know if the podcast know this, but I got a PS5 for free. Details don't matter. But I got a PS5 for free, so I do have FF16. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. Still playing Zelda.
So we're both in like the same boat. I haven't played FF16 much either. I'm at the very beginning still, but so far it seems good. Like I don't have any gripes with it yet, and I don't have an opinion on it because I haven't played it enough to really give one.
Yeah.
But I do like the direction. There's something I want to say, but I'm actually not even going to say that. I want to see if Kenny feels the same way. So I'll just wait. I'll just hold it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so that's the goal. Put that in stone. You heard it here first. This Sunday, July 2nd is the plan for the 24-hour stream. And the only thing that could derail that is if I have to play at RBET day 2 because I did well in that event. So that's the only thing that would actually kind of derail that. Yeah, I think that's it. So as I always say, do the things that make you happy, including shitting on an anime that you actually did really enjoy in prior seasons, but has just had some terrible writing and some terrible payoffs. And so now there's no reason to continue to act like everything is just peachy when it isn't.
Yeah, so I'm going to go kill my doctor now.
Oh, no. All right. Well,
bye.
Bye.